We are live, Smash Mouth Sports. I am your host, as always, Preston Bailey. With me, as always, Cam Vieira. Cam, how are you today?
I'm doing well, man. It's draft night. It's a night of optimism. Everyone's excited. Let's do this.
Everybody's excited. We're excited. The 2021 NFL Draft, 4-hour extravaganza, maybe 5. Who knows? We'll see how long this goes. Maybe we'll get into a fight with Conor McGregor in 2 hours, 3 hours, and we'll see how it goes. But the draft's going to start in 1 minute. So we're going live early to get this out to the ether. I've got my notes here. A lot of exciting. So Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. So, Cam, if you've got the notes ready, if you just want to say, let's do this while we're waiting. We're watching this band that I've never heard of. I've never heard of this horrific band, okay?
I haven't even. Now, if you see me looking to my right throughout the night, it's because the TV's to my right.
So, I got you. It's all good. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. It's harder than you think. I could not get my wireless buds going today. So, all right, let's get this going here. Let's just start with the first 5 teams. You ready?
Yep.
Just tell me the team. Number 1 is Jackson. Oh, I got this
correct
crazy marker here. Yep. So Jacksonville. Number 2.
The Jets.
The Jets. Number 3.
49ers.
Number 4.
Falcons.
Atlanta. And then just to round out the top 5, Cincinnati. Right?
Correct. Yep.
All right. We're going to leave that there. Early projections.
Is that 3 quarterbacks are going in the top 3?
Early projections, of course. Trevor Lawrence, supposed to go number 1. You tweeted this out. The draft is starting right about now. They normally kind of delay it a minute or two. Just
right. Goodell will come out and say some words, and
right.
I'm sure he'll thank all the frontline workers working throughout the pandemic that are there.
That's great. So, we're all excited about that, but we're focused on the draft tonight, the 2021 NFL Draft. The draft is here. I'm getting tweets galore from every single angle. And right now, let's go through. So I'm going to write these down here. And I've got them down on the other page here. Number 6 is, as of right now, so go ahead and go 6 through 10. I'm going to write this down actually again. Go ahead.
Number 6, as of right now, is the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Number 7, as of right now, is the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 is the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Number 9 is the Denver Broncos.
And number 10?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. Now, we've got a lot of interesting stories to get into.
It's generally believed if there's going to be movement in the draft, it's happening in that area if a team's moving up for a quarterback.
Well, here we go. For those tuning in, we appreciate it. Now, as of right now, we're going to focus on the top 10. It's going to take an hour to get through that. I'm getting tweets galore. Things are going totally crazy here. Totally buck wild, which is all good and exciting. Now, so in addition to Trevor Lawrence expected to go number 1, I am just going to go ahead, as they say, and, jump the horse here. Let's take a look here. Let's go back here. Let's go to the comments. And let's just go ahead and call it. I'm going to call it right now. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, this is the most foregone conclusion first overall pick since Andrew Luck. 100%.
There we go. Here we go. Before we put that in, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. We love the butcher. So the butcher already tweeting out, we appreciate the love right out of the gate. We absolutely love it. So we are projecting the Jacksonville Jaguars to take Trevor Lawrence. So
correct.
I am jumping the gun very early because that is what my projection is.
That's the safest bet you can make.
It's the safest bet you can make. They've been predicting it for 3 years. I heard today that some said when he was 15 years old, he was projected to be the number 1 pick. That's how confident they were in him.
I believe the final Vegas line was that he was like a minus 5,000 favorite to be the first overall pick.
Of course, which means you have to bet 5,000 to win 100.
Correct.
Which means, unless you're rich beyond belief, they're showing it right here in the background. I don't know why they're showing Mac Jones. They're showing Trey Lance. They're showing all the guys. They're going through it. Now, what does your clock say? I'm going to bring up ESPN in the background here.
The
What is
park is gone. Right now they're back to showing the band on the stage.
Yeah, see, this is what they do. The first 5 minutes of the draft, they play shenanigans. They do all kinds of crazy things.
Now they're showing the Jaguars war room.
Right. Okay.
Looks like there's about 15, 18 people in there.
Yeah.
Remember the Browns war room 3 years ago? There was like 25 people when they took Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. So again, Trevor Lawrence, 6'6", 220 pounds. So this is my CBS list. I'm going to read the top 5 off this list. These are the early projections. Again, this is not actually, these are just rankings. So according to this, Penei Sewell is the second best player in the league as far as this goes in the draft. 6'6", 330 pounds, junior out of Oregon, offensive lineman. Number 3, Kyle Pitts. Some say Kyle Pitts is the second best player in this draft. According to this mock draft and this projections, he's third, 6'6", 240 pounds. Zach Wilson, BYU, another junior, 6'3", 210 pounds, and then rounded out the top 5. This list still has Justin Fields top 5. Other lists, I've got Justin Fields outside of the top 10, which I think is absolutely crazy. But that's
what Chris Sims has him at 32.
Chris Sims, I don't know what Chris Sims are doing. So right now I'm looking at here on my other screen, and they're not showing the clock, so I don't know why they're not showing the official clock and what they're doing and what's going on there.
Well, because the draft has technically begun at 8 o'clock, so there's no more countdown. They just need to wait for Goodell to come out and say it's open. That's why they're not showing a clock.
Yeah, well, we're still waiting. Goodell's taking his sweet time. He's probably having some lobster and some shrimp cocktails.
There will be hugs and high fives between the guys there because Commissioner Goodell is fully vaccinated from COVID, so there will be hugs and high fives.
Well, I don't want to get into all that. I mean, look, here's what I'll say. The hugs and high fives is great. That's part of the excitement. I love the fact that they're there. They're in Cleveland. The stage looks great. Louis Riddick, this is a good squad. Anthony McFarland, the whole team is there. I like all these guys. I think they're doing a fantastic job. Absolutely phenomenal. We are waiting for Roger Goodell to kick things off. Before we do that, Cam, here are the 2 big things that happened today. The number 1 big story of the day, which of course is Aaron Rodgers.
He wants out.
Great Aaron Rodgers wants out. He wants out of Green Bay. And you know what? I said this a year ago at this exact time. I don't blame him. Do you remember what I said, Cam? Besides the fact that I said don't blame him?
You said the instant they traded for Jordan Love, you said if you were him, you'd demand out.
Absolutely. I would say nothing against Jordan Love. My coach is an idiot. My general manager is an idiot. Get me out of here. And you know what? Cowherd talked about this today on his show. So all kinds of insanity going on here. But pandemonium. Have Roger Goodell hit it yet? Because I got a little bit of a delay here, about 10 seconds, because I got so much going on here.
Not yet. There looks like there appears to be a countdown screen in the middle of Draft Plaza.
Right. So here is what we're talking about right now. What we're talking about the draft. Of course, we're going with the 2021 draft, but here is what I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. The whole Green Bay has butchered this situation as bad as you could butcher it. I understand he's 37. He's got a couple more years left. If you're Green Bay, you just don't butcher it this way. They butchered it as bad as they could. Now, here is some interesting facts that I found out today. The legendary Bart Starr.
16 seasons.
16 years. So we're going to get there. Stay with me. 16 years Bart Starr in Green Bay. Then Brett Favre comes along. 16 years, legend for Green Bay. And in case you're keeping track at home, the great Aaron Rodgers, 16 years. It's almost as if it's meant to be. That's as long as they can keep a great legend for 16 years. All 3 guys, all Pro Bowlers, all going to be Hall of Famers, all fantastic. The Packers have butchered this. Now, I know you love the Jordan Love pick. You thought it was great. Let's hear it, Cam.
Well, now we're going to see. I thought this would happen next year. I thought he was going to play 1 more year in Green Bay. Heck, he still might, because it doesn't feel like the Packers have any intention in trading. Even though if I were them, I would have taken that. With a disgruntled Aaron Rodgers, I would have taken the proposed offer from the 49ers, which is apparently Jimmy Garoppolo and the 3rd overall pick. If I were the Packers, I would have taken that, because Aaron Rodgers wants out. He is at most 1 more year left with you guys. I would have taken that offer if I were the Packers, but I'm not surprised. When Jordan Love was drafted last year, it was apparent from the beginning Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy, nor should he have been. They traded up in the 1st round for his replacement. That's not going to warm anybody's heart. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what your profession is. if your employer invests heavy resources in the guy that's going to replace you, that's going to aggravate you. And to his credit, he had a great year. He didn't pout. But now the rubber's meeting the road. He wants his contract extension. They're not giving it to him. He sees the writing on the wall, so he wants out early.
You're exactly right. Now, here is the question I have before I get to my next point. Do you have all 32 picks of our mock draft from last week written down? Okay. Let's just go very quickly, and let's match our mock draft versus the actual draft. What do you say? We keep a tally on that. Now, obviously predicting trades, that's one of those things that's hard to project.
There's already been one since the last mock draft. So,
which one was that?
When Baltimore and Kansas City. Baltimore now has 31 overall.
I thought you were talking about the top 10, but yeah, you're right. So our mock draft, we're going to say our mock versus actual. So Trevor Lawrence, and I believe we had Wilson going second.
Correct.
I believe we had Matt. Who did they have go? Now, what was interesting about this was we had so many different writers jumping on here, so they actually kind of went away from what I would have gone or what I would have thought the teams would have gone. But we'll stick with the board. So go ahead.
They had Justin Fields 3.
Yep, that's not going to happen.
Kyle Pitts 4.
I could see that happening. I believe yep.
I could see that happening too, but I think that would be a mistake. But we'll get into that later. Penei Sewell 5 to Cincinnati.
Yep.
Devontae Smith 6 to Miami.
Right.
Jamar Chase 7 to Detroit.
Yep.
Bandit still going. Rashawn Slater 8 to Carolina.
Yep.
Jalen Waddle 9 to Denver.
Okay.
Pat Surtain 10 to Dallas.
All right, we'll stop there. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this, and many people have projected this very similar thing, that they believe that there's going to be a record that there might not be a defensive player taken in the first 9 picks, which will be a record. Even in our mock draft, they went at 10. So we'll see how this all shakes out. Now, we've got a lot of guys here that are interesting. Now, even on this board here, I'm looking at the board here. According to my rankings here, are they still going with the rock concert? What is going on here?
Yep, they're still playing.
So, according to this, I've got Micah Parsons at around 8 as far as the 8th best player. He's absolutely phenomenal. I tell you, one of the guys that we're going to get into, I like Rashawn Slater. He's 6'4". He's 315 pounds, senior offensive lineman. Some believe he could play tackle. Some believe he could also play guard. Absolutely fantastic. Caleb Farley. There's rumors that teams are going to be trading up for him. The guy that I like, top 15 projected player, Tay Woody Payne, 6'4", 275 pounds, big, strong, out of Michigan, edge rusher, grew up in Liberia during the Civil War, overcome just immense adversity. I absolutely love this guy. I don't know that you could call a guy that's in the top 15 a sleeper pick, but he is definitely my sleeper pick, or my whatever word you want to call it, my dark horse to a guy that could go in the top 12. I absolutely love it. Here's your boy Roger Goodell coming out. It's about time here.
It appears he has Joe Thomas with him, a couple of the Browns legends. So
yeah, well, good for them. There we go. Roger Goodell. Any thoughts on that, Cam?
No, I agree, but I just want to say it's so nice to see the draft back the way it should be after last year. I mean, last year we were all happy for some sports content with the draft, but it being in Commissioner Goodell's basement, it wasn't the same.
It was horrible. I mean, look, they did the best they could. It had some of the best ratings they've ever had. I'm glad.
Desperate.
If the choice, well, those are your words. You're desperate. But the point I'm getting at here is this. What I find interesting is this. So if the choice is having the basement or not having it all, of course we chose the basement. But this is so much better. Even Cleveland, I mean, this draft looks so good, they're making Cleveland look good, which is pretty unbelievable. So
that's true. I mean, no one but LeBron's ever been able to do that. So
right. So this stage looks great. All the legends are great. They're not showing the names here, so I don't know if they're. Can you see the names that they're saying, Cam?
No, I know for sure that's Joe. One of them's Joe Thomas. I'm not sure who the other two are. It might be Bernie Kosar. Not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But so the draft's going to be kicking off very soon. He's about ready to kick it off. So I'm going to see something here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and play it here. Oh, that is Bernie Kosar. Yep. Now reports are coming in. Denver is not after Aaron Rodgers, but teams are coming out of the woodworks for Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay has made a critical error, grave mistake by not trading. I'm going to throw out a crazy situation. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Since Green Bay has gone off the rails, how crazy would it be, this scenario, if they made a trade with Houston for Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson's in a lot of hot water, disgruntled employee. Aaron Rodgers is disgruntled. How about they swap? They just swap it out. What are your thoughts on that?
I can see that, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure if he has no trade protection or not. The three teams that were reported he wants to go to are the 49ers first, the Raiders, and the Broncos. And the Broncos is because that's where his fiance is from. She's from Colorado. So, Miss Shailene Woodley.
So it appears as though his fiance is calling the shots in this situation and not Aaron
Rodgers. It certainly
Rodgers.
appears so.
Okay, because I heard that rumor right when I was driving into the studio that he wanted a West Coast team, as you mentioned, Denver, Vegas, and of course San Francisco, which I find extremely bizarre. I mean, there's other teams that are stacked that are not West Coast centric teams.
One that makes sense to me, if he wants to go to the West Coast. You talk about a blockbuster. I doubt this will happen, but I think it'd be great. Aaron Rodgers for Russell Wilson.
I knew you were going to say Seattle. Yeah, I mean that would be. Here's what you have to look at. If you're Green Bay, nobody wants to go to Green Bay. You've got a Super Bowl caliber team today with Aaron Rodgers. They were arguably a couple plays away from going against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They made it very close. They made it very competitive at the end. But at the end, bad coaching, poor management, poor everything in that game, they lost the game.
Correct.
I'm a little surprised here. We're 15 minutes into this, and
The
they still haven't
Jaguars are on
started
the
the clock. Okay, here we go. Now they're on the clock. Now the clock is going. They got 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go, roughly. So let's see if we can what are your thoughts on that, Cam?
No, I agree with you. I mean, Green Bay has made a big mistake. Now, they think they have the answer with Jordan Love. I know you don't. I have my doubts, too. We'll see what happens.
Nobody thinks that.
They
No, they don't. They absolutely do not think that. Nobody with a brain thinks that. Nobody.
So we'll see what happens over this next year. My prediction is they're going to get if Aaron Rodgers does in fact get traded, which I don't see happening. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to get pretty messy between these two sides here. Then they'll probably bring in a bridge guy for a year, Marcus Mariota, or who knows, and then they'll turn the keys over to their first round pick next year. So,
can you hear that?
Yes.
You seem to be struggling over there. So, anyways, what I was going to say is there we go. Now we've got all kinds of things going on here. So yeah. So go ahead and say what you were saying.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I know Aaron Rodgers is the big news today, but you said you had a second story you wanted to get to before the draft begins here?
Yeah. Before we get to, so that was my – here we go. Trevor Lawrence is showing the – now, Jacksonville, I know they're going to pick Trevor Lawrence, and we're going to get to the second story here. And this actually – the second story applies to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The second big story is Tim Tebow saying that he is willing to be the tight end, rather, whether he starts or not, was to be the tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I find absolutely fascinating. I find it fascinating. I also find it brilliant.
Yeah, he goes back to Urban Meyer. He resumes his career in his hometown. Yep.
Goes back to Urban Meyer. He's in his hometown. He's transferring to tight end. He is a veteran in his 30s, 33 years old. He can help Trevor Lawrence as far as the pressure, as far as everything else, as far as preparation and all the things that goes along with it. You see there in the background John Elway and all the other things that are going on. So what are your thoughts on that, Cam?
No, absolutely. And Trevor Lawrence is, the three, can't miss quarterbacks of all time. Ironically enough, the Colts had all of them, drafted all of them, were Elway, Manning, and Luck. And now Lawrence is in that category. So I think that this is a great day for the fans of Jacksonville. I think they're getting the next great NFL all-timer. If he stays healthy, that's a big if. We said this about Andrew Luck, and the Colts drove him into the ground. If they can protect Trevor Lawrence and keep him upright, I think I heard someone say earlier today that obviously you're taking Lawrence number 1 overall, but then they would go O-line for the rest of the draft if they were the Jaguars.
Yeah, I believe that was me because despite what our guy James Johnson thinks, he's like, oh, the Jacksonville's stacked. No, Jacksonville's not stacked. I don't know why he thinks that. I like James. He's a great guy. But no, the Jaguars don't have a stacked team at any level. Even when they draft Trevor Lawrence, they're still not going to be stacked, and they're not going to be stacked at tight end with Tim Tebow. They got an okay running back. What's your favorite running back's name in there for Jacksonville? What's his name?
I'm not even sure.
There you go. Well, James Johnson was going on and on and on about your Jacksonville running back. He had a good – James Robinson, I believe is his name. James Robinson had a solid year. So he's a solid back. Everything's going well. That's kind of the deal with Cam. You with me here?
I'm with you. My TV's to my right, so I'm just keeping an eye on it.
Right. Well, we gotta focus here for the people here. We're doing a show. So, but anyway, so that's the deal. That's what's going on. They're showing his lovely girlfriend there, so he's happy. He's got his
why
T-shirt.
it's taking them so long to turn this in. They know it's Trevor Lawrence.
Right. Well, they know they're doing this for theatrics. They're doing this for the show and for everything else. So Trevor Lawrence, 6'6", 200. Now he's listed at 220 pounds, but I've heard reports coming out that he's actually 213 pounds. He lost about 7 or 8 pounds due to the surgery, due to not working out. He's dropped a little bit of weight. He's naturally a tall, lean guy, not more of a muscular built guy. So we will see what happens here. I do expect Trevor Lawrence to be on the clock here. Booger McFarland's given some great insight as well. So what are your thoughts on that, Cam?
No, it's just a day of great optimism for Jaguars fans. Now, this isn't going to happen, but can you imagine if they come out and say the Jaguars have selected Justin Fields or Zach Wilson? The outrage that would be.
I've got to say, if something crazy happens, that's not going to happen. It's fun.
No, it's not.
It's fun for 5 minutes to joke about it. If they pick Trey Lance, if they pick Justin Fields, if they pick Zach Wilson, that would send this draft into a frenzy if that happened. Twitter might melt down. They would go totally buck wild. They would go totally crazy. I am getting a little riled up. I'm getting a little anxious here because this is taking a little bit longer. I thought we'd be further along into pick two, getting along in the process here. So there's a lot of great players here. By the way, your old guy Drew Bledsoe said that he doesn't think the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson today.
Correct, and he also said that he doesn't think the Niners are going to take a quarterback.
Right. So Drew Bledsoe is clearly drinking too much of his own wine into the deep state.
I was about to say that.
He is so far. Where is he at? Is he in North Dakota? Where's his wine at?
Washington. Where he's from?
Washington, Montana. All these great players. Look, he's a great guy. Wasn't a great quarterback. He's got $100 million. I'm very happy for him. There's no way in hell, part of my language, that the Jets don't take a quarterback. If you want to say the Jets take Justin Fields number 2, that's fine. You can say that, or Trey Lance, that's fine. But to say the Jets are not going to take a quarterback is crazy.
When they just traded Sam Darnold.
And to say that the 49ers are not going to take a quarterback, that's even more crazy. You don't trade 3 first-round draft picks for an offensive lineman. That's insane to me.
I know.
That's absolutely. We got 3 minutes to go here. What are the Jacksonville Jaguars doing here?
I honestly don't know.
Are they trying to get a little bit more suspense? But no, the big story, obviously Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1 here. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the board right here. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. It's not official. It's not official for those watching. It's not official, but this is what's going on. Cam?
I don't know what they're doing. I really don't know what they're doing. We're down to almost 3 and change here. We've known this is going to be the first. This is the one thing about the draft that does bother me. It's like you've known who you're going to take in all likelihood for months.
Right.
So, like, what are you doing here? Like, you're just talking about amongst yourselves? Like, everyone knows they're going Trevor Lawrence. Everyone knows the Jets are going Zach Wilson.
Right.
This is why the draft goes to midnight every year. The Bengals did the same thing last year. Everyone knew they were going to take Joe Burrow, and they waited. Now, granted, last year the GM and the coach weren't in the same room, so they had to talk to each other. But
now the one thing that's good is they've lowered it. It used to be 15 minutes between picks. Now it's 10 minutes, which is much streamlined. It's so much better to have 10 minutes versus 15, because if you have 15 minutes, you're talking about 4 picks an hour. Teams are really taking their sweet time. What's good about the 10-minute rule is you got 10 minutes. Many teams, and you said this, many teams on average pick around 7.5, sometimes 8 minutes. So that helps speed up the process, speed up the draft, getting things going on. So we're gonna see exactly how this is going on. According to this, 2 minutes from now, they're gonna have a pick here. Is this Susie Colbert here?
That's Susie Colbert.
What is she saying here?
My TV's on mute, so Adam Schefter's talking now. The pick is in.
Okay, good. The pick is in. So the pick is in.
So we get a couple more.
There we go. So obviously the Jets are on the clock here. So we're going to find out shortly here. So Cam, I know you're a few seconds ahead of me just due to all the contraptions I've got here. So we're just going to stay put on that. But
while we get a couple seconds here, I got to ask you. Now, you remember these days a lot better than I do. Do you prefer the draft as a primetime event, or did you like it better when it was all on a Saturday afternoon?
It is 10 times better this way. 10 times better. Because I love the draft. I'm addicted to the draft. So I would wake up early and the draft would go from noon until midnight, which was just horrific. This is 100 times, and it was painful. And it was 15 minutes between picks. So this is 100 times better. It starts at 8, prime time, ends at midnight, maybe 11:45 for the first round. That is brilliant. And then tomorrow is rounds 2 and round 3. Starts at, I believe, either 7 or 8 p.m., rounds 2 and 3. And then, of course, the final day, rounds 4 through 7. This is brilliant. The way they do it, a 3-day event, it's brilliant. It's genius. Every way, this is 100 times better.
I agree. I agree.
We're still waiting. It says the pick is in. We are waiting for the pick to be in here.
It appears Commissioner Goodell is on his way to the podium.
Yeah, we don't want a bunch of silence, so we need to focus here, Cam. So, the point is the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. We're going to get that when it breaks. We do believe the Jets will take Zach Wilson, number 2 overall. Looks like one of the fans here. And again, I want to say this, so we'll cover Trevor Lawrence when he gets in. But my opinion on Zach Wilson, I think he's good. I think he's talented. But at the end of the day, many people feel Zach Wilson. Well, I feel Zach Wilson is more like Derek Carr. He's more comparable to Derek Carr.
I agree.
We'll see how that goes. And the fans are going buck wild. So Trevor Lawrence is the official pick. So Cam, we already knew this was going to happen, but what are your thoughts? Let's hear it.
The draft hasn't begun yet. That's the only way I can say it.
The draft has begun, so that's not really a great take. So I don't know where you're going with that. But number 2 is the Jets, and I believe they're going to take quarterback Zach Wilson.
Correct. Now, thankfully, they do go straight on the clock as soon as Jacksonville turns their pick in. So they're already down to 7 minutes with the Jets. Good for Trevor Lawrence. Happy for him. I think that he's better off with the Jaguars than the Jets, to be honest with you.
I would agree. And the fact that he's got Urban Meyer, the fact that he's got – I think the fact that he's got Tim Tebow that's going to be trying out a tight end, I think that is going to help him out tremendously. I really do. The fact that they're both, high-level quarterbacks, national champions, high-level first-round draft picks, I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic for him.
Oh, 100%. I think this is going to be a great deal for him. It's going to take some time. Yeah, I don't expect him to be a playoff team year 1 like Andrew Luck was. It will take some time, for sure. They're in a tough division there with the Colts and the Titans. They'll probably be better than the Texans. But
Texans are going to be the worst team in the league.
I agree.
Them or Philadelphia are going to be the worst teams.
I agree.
Which is why I think Green Bay at this stage of the game, and we're going to keep going back to Green Bay because Green Bay has butchered these. They've already, in my opinion, Green Bay has already butchered this year's draft. They have not drafted yet, and they've already butchered it. So like Houston has butchered this draft. Houston has butchered the offseason. They have butchered this draft. They don't even have hardly any picks. Green Bay has butchered this because both of those teams had elite top 5 quarterbacks. One is in legal hot water. We're talking about Watson and all his debauchery. The other does not want to play for you, and he's getting $20 million a year doing Jeopardy and doing 100 other things other than playing football.
Yeah, I know. Now, if the offer is true, that if the Niners offered Green Bay the 3rd overall pick in Garoppolo, should Green Bay have taken that?
Yes. You'd want a couple extra second round picks because you are giving away Aaron Rodgers. You could argue Aaron Rodgers only got 3 or 4 years left. That's a fair argument. But man, I get all kinds of alerts going crazy on my phones here. But yes, Green Bay needs to get on the phone with San Fran. You trade him to San Fran. San Fran believes they're a couple players away from getting back in the mix, back to the Super Bowl, back in the NFC Championship game, which is totally understandable. They got a talented core of guys. Even though they've lost a couple guys, they do have a talented core. If they pick up Aaron Rodgers, that would be a smart move for the 49ers. Green Bay saves face. You get the third pick. You get Jimmy G. You get a couple second rounders, and you're back in business. I think it's a no-brainer.
Correct. No, I agree. And even if you get the third pick, you want to refill your roster, you can move down from there. Like, I really don't understand why Green Bay didn't take that deal. I really don't.
Green Bay's doing a horrible job of running the organization. It's that simple. They're doing the fact that they don't have an owner. I don't care who likes that idea. It's a stupid idea. That was great 70 years ago. We're a different culture, a different world, different everything than 70 years ago.
There's no accountability.
It's a dumb idea. Right. You can't just do like Bill Belichick did when he goes to the front office. He said, Mr. Kraft, give me $200 million. Kraft goes, okay, here you go. Don't screw it up.
Correct.
So what are your thoughts on that?
No, the Packers they botched it. They really did. They botched it. And I understand it seems to be a core belief of theirs to make sure they have the next quarterback ready to go.
Yeah, because they're fearful. They
Correct.
do that because they're fearful. They do that because they're insecure, and they feel that every 16 years they get lucky.
And just the sheer fact that you've had 30 years of elite quarterback play and have only won once with both of them, and you think that goes back to the lack of the ownership there, correct?
Absolutely. Now, how many championships did Bart Starr win? 2?
He won 2 Super Bowls. I think he won 4 championships in total.
Okay, so let's just go by Super Bowls. So we're talking about you've had for 50 years almost. For almost 50 years, you've had 3 elite quarterbacks. Starr, Favre, Rodgers. You've won 4 championships. Now, 4 championships is good, but when you span it over 50 years with all the guys they've had, it could be a lot better. And here's Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson just looks so young to me. He looks so young.
He does.
He just doesn't have – when you see Trevor Lawrence, he looks so much more mature. He looks so much more stature, just, everything, the height and everything else. There's 2 minutes to go. Here we go again. They're going to show the throws. Let me say this. They're
comparing him to Aaron Rodgers now.
No, they're not. They can compare him to whoever they want to. My comparison is Derek Carr. He's 6'3". He's 210 pounds. Yeah, I know. They want to compare him to Aaron Rodgers, and that's fine. Well, let me ask you this. Is the Chicago Bears Brigham Young and Boise State and all these other lower-tier guys? No.
No, they don't have – those teams don't have Khalil Mack and those guys.
How many guys did Wilson play against that are as good or close to Khalil Mack?
That'd be 0.
Right. Or DeForest Buckner or any of these other guys, Bosa that they're showing here. None of these guys.
Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a minute to go here. They better pick up the pace. The pace is in. Now, I heard this in the pregame show. They said the third pick is where we're waiting for confirmations to either stay on track or deviate. Mm-hmm. Because the expectation is Lawrence, which we have. Number 2 is Wilson, which we may have. And number 3 is Mac Jones. That is the expectations right now. So if things change, that's when things change.
We'll see. We'll see what happens here. I mean, I think – so your belief is the Niners are going to go Mac Jones? I
do. You don't believe that?
I could see it, but I could also see Trey Lance because Trey Lance at the end of the day was the Vegas betting favorite.
So
I don't think it's not going to be Justin Fields. I think we all agree on that.
So make a pick. Don't say maybe this, maybe that. Make a pick.
I'll go with just in the effort to be different. I'll go with Trey Lance. But here comes Commissioner Goodell to the podium to announce the Jets pick.
Okay, see what happens. So we'll get to the pick when we get to the pick. But so those are the top 3 guys. Honestly, I think the Jets, if they do take Zach Wilson here, I know a lot of people like Zach. Look, Zach Wilson could be great, but he doesn't compare to Aaron Rodgers at all. He does not compare. I know people are going to say with 73%, there's a difference between playing at BYU. BYU has been a running team. They're not a quarterback-driven team. How many great quarterbacks? Steve Young is the best. Now, Steve Young's a great quarterback, but that was 40 years ago. Yeah, there you go. Zach Wilson.
Yep, Zach Wilson. And the first 2 picks we expected are off the board. Now it's up to the San Francisco 49ers. No, I mean, I think you said it yourself. The best BYU quarterback is probably Taysom Hill.
No, it's Steve Young. It's Steve Young. But that was 40 years ago.
Of the modern era, it's Taysom Hill.
In the last 35 years, it's Taysom Hill. Correct. So my question to you is this: who does he compare to? He compares to Derek Carr. He compares to Taysom Hill. Those are the guys that he compares to.
And everyone's been talking about
6'3", 210. Derek Carr is 6'3", 210. If you love Derek Carr, then you love this pick. You got to stop looking at. I really wish people would stop looking at these guys and say, "Oh, this is Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Zach Wilson's Tom Brady.
Well, this is Patrick Mahomes, right?
Big Ben, Mahomes. No, he's not. He's a guy that played in a lower tier, an inferior conference. With all due respect to BYU and their opponents, they played in a lower tier system, so they're not playing against top level guys. They're not playing against the Boses and the Max and the Watts and all the Watts and the Millers and all the other guys that we talked about, the Aaron Donalds, right?
No, they haven't.
So there it is. It's official. Right there. Jets take quarterback Zach Wilson. Now, I do believe, there's a part of me that hopes that the 49ers do something totally stupid right here. There's a part of me that hopes that they just do something totally, totally stupid. So I think the 49ers are going to go Mac Jones. I really do. I really believe it. We will see what happens.
That feels like a Kyle Shanahan type pick, doesn't it?
It is a Kyle Shanahan pick. It's boring and
it's someone he can control.
Bland compares to Kirk Cousins.
Correct.
Right.
And that's who he's always longed
for.
That's who he's always longed for whatever reason.
Right.
By the way,
run the offense. Yep.
There's a quick funny story here. Adam Schefter said that apparently Trevor Lawrence and Peyton Manning both attended the Masters earlier this month, and Peyton Manning told Trevor Lawrence that he's going to break his interception record for a rookie.
Peyton Manning said that Trevor Lawrence is going to break his interception record.
Correct.
That's just Peyton Manning's a weird guy. That's just such an odd thing to say.
It is.
It's just super weird. Let's take a look at Adam Schefter. Is Adam Schefter saying anything crazy or no?
No, so far we got nothing breaking. I mean, I think these first 2 picks were predictable. He even just tweeted himself, now the draft is officially underway. So we'll see what happens here with San Fran, but then the fun begins. I mean, San Fran's going to go quarterback here. It's going to be either feels like it's either going to be Jones or Lance. Doesn't feel like it's going to be Justin Fields. I'm going to say Trey Lance just so we can have a difference of opinion. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's Mac Jones. In fact, it does feel like that's a very Kyle Shanahan type pick. Someone he can control, someone who will play within the system. And I'm also being a bit biased here. I would love it to be Mac Jones because I think if it's Mac Jones, that means that's the more likely it is that Jimmy Garoppolo becomes available because I think Mac Jones is more pro ready than Trey Lance.
I do think Mac Jones is more pro ready. So we'll see. I will say this. The quarterbacks coming out the pike today, they're much better prepared than quarterbacks in the past. Here we go. First round quarterbacks.
For the Jets.
Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, Mark Sanchez, Chad Pennington, Ken O'Brien. That is not a murderer's row.
No, with the exception of Joe Namath, that's a nothing but letdowns.
You say Joe Namath, that's 1965.
Correct.
So those are first-round picks. That's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Too many people look at these guys and they go, oh, this guy is going to be Tom Brady. This guy's going to be Mahomes. No, he most certainly is not. The Jets have a sorry roster. They don't have a great offensive line. They got one offensive lineman, and he's 380 pounds almost. Your big guy, the Mack truck. What's that?
Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, Mekhi Becton. I almost called him the fridge. Mekhi Becton. Look how calm San Fran is here. So I don't know why they're clapping. What are they doing here? They got 3 minutes to go. You know what would be funny? This is terrible, but I hope the 49ers get skipped. I really do.
You hope they pull. You hope they pull the Vikings.
I hope they pull the Vikings. I really do. I think that would be fascinating because we've heard how smart they are, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Who was the Minnesota coach in those days? Was it Mike Tice?
It was Mike Tice.
Yeah.
Mike Tice, yeah, he was like a former offensive line coach, and he was absolutely terrible. Now, it wasn't all Mike Tice's fault. He wasn't the greatest coach.
And
but
they did
he
it 2 years in a row.
They did it 2 years in a row. Yeah. So now there's many different boards, many different rankings. In fact, let me go to ESPN's ranking. What do you have on your board as the highest rated player? Not who you think's going to go, highest rated player. I'm going to bring up ESPN.
Kyle Pitts.
Okay. Let's take a look here. Let's go.
But I will say, if Atlanta takes him at 4, and we'll get to this later, I think that's a mistake.
Okay, well, let's get to it now.
I think Atlanta needs to – if Atlanta – no, look, I think they will take him because I think Atlanta is just obsessed with – I think they're like Jerry Jones. I think that you can never have enough pass catchers. They need a defense. Their defense is awful. If I were Atlanta, I'd go Micah Parsons.
Okay, that's not, you bring a good point there. You're probably right. Micah Parsons is probably more valuable, probably a better player. Am I coming through in the sound? Everything's clean. Everything's good.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Look, I don't think it'd be a mistake. Look, I think it'd be a mistake only from the stance of my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't want them playing against Kyle Pitts twice a year. He's a hell of a matchup problem. I think Kyle Pitts is phenomenal. But here is the thing you got to remember with the Falcons. You have Julio Jones, who's dynamic. You have Calvin Ridley, who's dynamic. To add Kyle Pitts, and then you get a dynamic running back in the second round. Oh, my God, this team could be back to, a couple years ago, MVP Matt Ryan. I'm just saying, you're right. You need a defense. But honestly, this Atlanta team could get the best edge rusher. They could get the best outside linebacker. They could get the best inside linebacker, the best corner. Their defense is still going to suck. Their defense is horrendous.
It is.
Whereas a guy like a Kyle Pitts, that talented, could absolutely open up the offense to Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley on the outsides. I think it'd be fantastic. And plus, it would save Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan has been getting killed these last few years, even though he's got a solid offensive line. So we got a couple minutes to go here. And according to this, the pick is in. I don't know about you, Cam, but I'm getting excited because I feel like business is really starting to pick up right now.
No, so am I. This is exciting. This is really this is exciting. This is for sure. I mean, 5 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round. It might be more. Maybe someone.
My prediction is 5 are going to go in the top 15. Okay, here we go. You're right. The number 1 overall pick is Kyle Pitts, 6'6", 240 pounds. Now, here is I'm going to bounce between CBS's and ESPN's rankings. According to ESPN, here are the top 5 guys available. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase receiver, Penei Sewell, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. Those are the top 5 right now, which means, in case you're keeping track, Trey Lance is out of that. Mac Jones is out of that. Justin Fields is out of that. What do you think about that?
Correct. No, absolutely.
So the pick is coming in shortly. And here's my prediction right here. Mac Jones, let's see what they say. They took Trey Lance.
Yes, they did.
Wow. Look at that. It looks like that was a lot of smoke. We got to turn this up. I got to hear what they're saying here. This is interesting here. 17 games. The first non-FBS quarterback to go in the first round, I believe is what they just said. Is that what they just said?
That is what they just said. He's making his way to the stage. He's going to go shake Roger Goodell's hand, and here we go. And so this is not good news for my team.
The draft starts. This is what we wanted. I'll tell you this right now. I like Trey Lance. He's a good athlete. He is very, very raw.
He is. And this means that they're probably holding on to Jimmy Garoppolo for the year.
You're right. Because they need Trey Lance to get, he's got a lot to learn. Look, we talked about this. The same thing about Zach Wilson. I'm going to say a very similar thing about Trey Lance. They both played great. Look, Zach Wilson had 73.5% accuracy. He's not going to have that in the NFL. That's ridiculous. Trey Lance is phenomenal. And they're bringing up the stats right now, and they're coming out. He's a great athlete. He played at North Dakota State. Okay, 6'3".
Same school as Carson Wentz.
So here's my question to you. My comparison for Wilson is Derek Carr. My comparison to him is Carson Wentz.
We're just making the school comparison. No, I agree.
Well, it's not just the school. It's the school, but it's also the skill set. Carson Wentz did have one monster season, but Carson Wentz has also been very up and down. This young man can be very up and down. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is surprising. I did feel like Mac Jones was a Kyle Shanahan type pick.
I felt the same way.
But
now this is where business is going to pick up. But you're right. You were the devil's advocate. You chose Lance. I'm not stunned that they chose Trey. I'm not stunned at all. But what we have seen is 1, 2, and 3 with quarterbacks.
No, you're right.
Which does not happen. We've seen 1 and 2 quite a bit. I remember when Jameis went number 1, Mariota went number 2. Both of those guys were not just busts, but super busts.
Okay, correct. That was a big letdown.
Now, this is not going to happen, but I just want to throw this out there for fun. What if Atlanta takes Mac Jones?
That'd be something.
What if Atlanta takes Justin Fields? I mean, there's a lot of ways Atlanta could go here. A lot of ways.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean,
Trevor Lawrence is gone. Zach Wilson is gone. Trey Lance, gone to the 49ers. And I'll say this, Trey Lance did not throw a single pass in 2020.
Correct.
I understand COVID. I understand the bad, COVID. 2020 did not throw a pass at a college level.
Correct.
Number 2, he was in a lower tier conference with North Dakota State. If you could look up what conference was it, with Carson Wentz and North Dakota State. Let's look up the conference here. We want to get it right. Let's look this up here. Because he played, again, North Dakota State, very, very raw. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. Many people are comparing him to somewhere between Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott. He does have a very similar skill set to a Dak Prescott with his size and the athleticism, and he's more athletic than Dak Prescott is. But I think it's fascinating. Let me know when you get that conference. But yeah,
according to this, it's the NCAA Missouri Valley Conference.
How many times have they said the Missouri Valley? I mean, I'm happy for this young man. I'm very happy for him. He's tearing up. I'm very happy for him.
Well, this is great. It's always great to see guys' dreams come true. This is always a great day. I'm very happy for these guys. So, I mean, I think he's in a good position to succeed in San Francisco. He's going to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year, at least. I think that he's going to be good in Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think between Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, he's going to have some good guys to throw to when he takes the reins there. I think this is a good spot for Trey Lance to go.
This is a good spot for Trey Lance to go. I do think the fact that here's what I would do if it was me, if I'm San Fran. I would start Jimmy G the first 7 or 8 games, take a glimpse of the team. Are they 4-4, 5-3? What is their record? And every week I would add more plays for Trey Lance. Add more plays every week. Here we go. Quarterback selected in the same class. So, 1, 2. Oh, and so it has happened.
Yes.
So it happened one time in 1971. Jim Plunkett, Archie Manning. Here we go. Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, Akili Smith.
And only one of those guys was good.
Only one of those guys. The other 2 were horrific. That's my point.
And as we said before, McNabb was limited.
And I said, ironically, Akili Smith was the guy that I also compared. You could make an argument that Trey Lance was comparable to Akili Smith if you looked at the college tape. Again, that was 20 years ago. The game has changed. It's more. The game is more favorable now, more college style, more spread offense, more open with more athletic quarterbacks. The game has kind of expanded in that aspect of it. But yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. It's absolutely interesting. So, we'll see how it comes along. Atlanta.
The pick is in for Atlanta. So here's when the intrigue is going to begin.
This is where it's going to get interesting. If they pick Kyle Pitts, it's going to be status quo. If they pick Penei Sewell, that will be interesting. If they pick Micah Parsons, like what you said they should. And that's actually a great point because I remember 2 years ago, the Buccaneers at 5 chose Devin White. And Devin White's one of the best inside linebackers and linebackers overall.
He was your best defensive player in the playoffs.
Correct. He might even be our best player in the playoffs. That includes Brady. As far as
I agree with you.
In the playoffs, how he played. So I'm fascinated which way this is going to go, how it's going to go here. What is your thoughts?
I think this is going to be I do think this is going to be Kyle Pitts. don't agree with that if it is, but we'll see. It appears Goodell is on his way to the podium. It appears what they're doing tonight, if you're just watching us and not being able to watch the draft, is they have a fan who's been vaccinated sitting in a chair next to Goodell. Goodell greets them, and then they work their way over to the podium to announce the pick. So we'll see what happens here. They've just greeted a Falcons fan, and now he's on his way over to the podium, making the announcement.
All right. We're about ready to go here. Number 4, Atlanta Falcons.
Yep, here we go.
Who do they pick, Cam? You going to tell us?
No, I'll let you see. I'm a couple seconds ahead of you.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts, tight end.
Again, great player. I think he will do well there with Julio and Ridley if they hold on to Julio, which is a separate story.
They're not getting rid of Julio. They owe Matt Ryan $111 million over the next 2 years in dead cap money. He's not going anywhere. Number 2, they owe Julio Johnson. They owe Julio Jones a fortune, also over the next 2 years.
Right. It would have to be.
He's also not going anywhere. So those two guys are stuck there. They're not going anywhere. So this is unfortunate for my Buccaneers because you've got Matt Ryan's a former MVP. Julio Jones can jump out of the building. Calvin Ridley can run out of the building. And Kyle Pitts can do everything. Those are 3 dynamic players.
Correct. And according to
Adam, that's interesting. It looks like they're comparing him to – who are they comparing him to? Was that Darren Waller they're comparing him to?
Now they're comparing him to Travis Kelce.
I don't know about that. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, yeah. Travis Kelce, NFL. I mean, that's a hell of a comparison. If you think he's Travis Kelce, that's a great pick, right?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. So now Cincinnati's on the clock. This has to be Penei Sewell.
It has to be.
If this isn't Penei Sewell, as you've said many times, Joe Burrow should sue the Bengals front office for malpractice.
He should. He absolutely should.
We've all seen the picture when the Bengals were debuting their new uniforms of the scar on Joe Burrow's knee from
we don't need to get into that. That was graphic. That is extremely, extremely graphic.
So this has to be Penei Sewell.
It has to be Penei Sewell. It has to be.
Look, it very well could be
330 pounds, out of Oregon, a junior, 21 years old, big, strong, athletic. He checks every box. I know some of the guys are like, oh, he's not Jonathan Ogden. He's not Orlando Pace. He's not. Look, this guy is phenomenal. Penei Sewell is a phenomenal player. So I don't like the hate that he's been getting. He's a big Samoan guy, went to Oregon, fantastic player. I love Penei Sewell. I think this is the pick. I think it's a great pick.
I do too. But, knowing Cincinnati, they could very easily go Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase here. So
Now, you bring up a good point. They very well could go Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, which would not be a bad pick because those are elite players, but you got to protect Joe Burrow. You got to. You just got to.
Well, what did we say? The instant Joe Burrow was drafted, we all said no one.
I hope they don't screw him up, is what I said.
No one disputes his ability, but Cincinnati can very well screw him up. And in year 1, they got him hurt.
Yep.
So we need to see what happens here. They haven't turned in the pick yet because now it's going to – now we should all buckle up a little bit after this pick because everyone believes if there's movement, it's going to be between 6 and 10. So if
I predict there will be movement. There will be some kind of movement. This draft has gone pretty much how we thought it would go. I mean, every report was saying Mac Jones early on. But it looks like they get, let's see, first tight end, highest drafted tight end since 1960. Well, this says since 1960.
Since 1960.
Since 1960, yep, which is unbelievable. It was also a different game. It was also a different game in 1960. Tight ends were, they didn't even use receivers in 1960. So tight ends were really like a receiver.
Right. It was just Mike Ditka, really.
Right.
In that era. That was a good tight end. The team that needs to be on their toes here is Denver because Detroit and Carolina have their quarterbacks. They have Goff. They have Darnold. They might be open to moving back. Denver needs one. Denver could be where Mac Jones goes. They need to keep their eye on teams like New England and Washington in New Orleans that might jump them. So,
did you hear that Denver is open to trading Drew Lock?
Yes.
I'll tell you right now, as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I know you, the Wire guys, the Broncos, John Heath, Wire, he hates Drew Lock. I'm telling you, I don't hate Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock has a lot more potential than people are giving him credit for. And I would love the Bucs to take a flyer on Drew Lock. If we could get Drew Lock to sit behind Tom Brady for a year and a half, 2 years, I would love that. I think that'd be phenomenal. And then you got your young 24-year-old Buck coming through with a stacked roster, young and ready. Oh, that would just be fantastic. To learn from Brady, to go to the next level with our receivers, with our defense, with our running backs, I think that would be fantastic.
No, I think that'd be a great move for you guys. The pick is in, so we'll see what happens here at any given moment.
Go ahead and tell us with the pick when it comes in.
They haven't announced it yet, but the pick is in. They've stopped. The Dolphins are now on the clock. I think Miami is going to be owning the draft for the next few years. I think they had what they had last year. Did they have 3 first-rounders last year? They
had quite a few. They had 2 or 3, yeah.
They have 2 this year, and now they have 2 the next 2 years, and Lord only knows how many more they could get. So with all these,
Houston got fleeced.
They did by Laremy Tunsil. Even said the day that trade happened between the Dolphins and Niners that he turned out to be the greatest trade chip in the history of the Miami Dolphins.
You see, Larry Tunsil said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they sent him to Houston. They got a first-round pick. It turned out to be number 3 overall. Moved back to 12 in Philly. Moved back up to 6. So Miami clearly has their guys on a certain someone. So now I think
Miami's going to take Jamar Chase, wide receiver. I really do.
I think they're going receiver, but I think they're going Smith. I think they're going.
I know you do. You're obsessed with Devontae Smith. I think he's extremely overrated.
No, I just think
he's extremely overrated. You love Devontae Smith. You're dosing yourself in champagne if the Patriots got him. I think Devontae Smith is solid, but I think he's grossly overrated. He's 6'1". He's 172 pounds.
I think the only reason they take him over Chase is to the reunion with Tua.
You love these reunions. Yeah, Devontae Smith is also the same guy that said Mac Jones is better than Tua. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Right?
Correct. No, you're right.
We'll see. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. We got a couple more people tuning in, tweeting in. So we'll see how this goes. We'll get some more comments coming, which we absolutely love. So, number 4, Kyle Pitts. Now we've got number 5. How much time is left on the clock? It's not showing us here. It says the pick is in.
The pick is in. It takes a couple minutes for Goodell to get it. They have to write it down, and then if the person is there, the prospect is at the draft, they have to press the name onto the jersey for him to carry out to the stage. So we'll see what happens here. Cincinnati at 5. Again, if this isn't Penei Sewell, that's a big mistake.
29th in pass blocking, which is terrible. 4.1 yards per rush, which is also terrible. 6th worst. So, yeah, they do. Offensive lineman, I do think Jamar Chase is a better player than Waddle or Smith. No doubt about it. I think he's a better pro. I think he's better, translates better. I love Jamar Chase. If they do take Jamar Chase, again, that's a great player. But you got it. Your offensive line, Cincinnati desperately needs offensive line. But there's a lot. But I can also understand, as desperately as they need offensive line, I could also see them choosing a receiver.
Correct.
So we'll see how that goes.
The
fans are dancing. I think they've had a couple cold ones. They're a little fired up here. So what are your thoughts?
I'm assuming this is going to be a frosty reception here. The Bengals aren't very popular in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
Here comes Commissioner Goodell.
With the 5th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
I called it. Jamar Chase.
Yep.
And I called it. I said Jamar Chase, not Devontae Smith.
Now here's the reunion. He's back. Now he's back with Joe Burrow.
Right. Now that I think is good.
He sat out last year because of COVID. Yep. I think that was a smart move.
Yep.
let the last film of you be catching passes from the number 1 overall pick. I think this is if it's not Penei Sewell, I think this was the next best move for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to help him out, but I do think a guy like Ja'Marr Chase, he is elite. Jamar, look at it. He's 6 foot. He's 202 pounds. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. Just look at this footage that they're showing. He's fantastic. And you're right. The fact that Joe Burrow and him have a connection, that is like a double bonus. Now, if I'm Cincinnati, you have a lot of needs. I'm not joking. Rounds 2 through 7, I'm double dipping offensive O-line.
All 5 spots.
You have to go
all 5
O-line
spots.
the rest of the way. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. So I'm fine with them taking Ja'Marr Chase. You really wanted them to draft Penei Sewell just because you got to protect this young man in Burrow. But having a guy like Ja'Marr Chase, he is dynamic, and they do have a good connection. I love the pick. Even though it's a little – some people don't like it because it's not an offensive lineman. I do think they need an offensive lineman. A guy like Ja'Marr Chase I love Ja'Marr Chase. He's absolutely fantastic. So they're excited. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So Cam, give me your thoughts, your final thoughts on that. Now, before you give me your thoughts, now the draft is juicing up to me. Now It's getting a little wild. It's getting a little crazy. Things are going a little, I don't want to say off the rails, but it's getting a little more juice than some of the other mock drafts had.
No, that's for sure. I mean, look, if it was an O-line, this makes the most sense for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Reunite Chase with Joe Burrow. AJ Green's gone. You got John Ross there. So we'll see what happens.
To your point, Miami's on the clock, correct?
Yes.
Devontae Smith makes perfect sense here.
The pick is in. The same thing. Back with
He's
Tua.
Quick. He's dynamic. Tatima with Tua. He's quick. He's dynamic. Heisman. He checks all these boxes. He's 6'1". I'm concerned he's only 172 pounds. We will see who they pick here. Let's hear it.
Miami,
go ahead and turn up your TV, Cam. Go ahead and turn it up.
The pick is in. He's not walking his way out to the podium yet. I will when he does.
When they bring it out, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to say this, and you're not going to like this, but I was doing some research today on Devontae Smith because you've been so in love with Devontae Smith, chocolate strawberries and cherries. You just telling me how great Devontae Smith is. So I looked it up. Do you know who he compares to as far as height and size and weight and college attributes and everything else?
Marvin Harrison, right?
There is a better – Marvin Harrison is a comparable. So you could use that in the positive. The guy that he compared to – Marvin Harrison is a loose comparison. The guy that he compares to exactly, D.D. Westbrook was 6'1".
Oh.
What are you talking about here?
You said D.D. Westbrook. Is that the comparison?
Yeah, D.D. Westbrook is the comparison. Yes, D.D. Westbrook is D.D. Westbrook is the comparison.
That's why I went ooh.
Oh, because I thought you were looking at the highlight here. So stay with me here. So D.D. Westbrook is tall and lean. D.D. Westbrook was 6'1", 174 pounds. Devontae Smith is 2 pounds lighter, but that's as identical as a comparison that you're going to find. And D.D. Westbrook, I don't want to say he's been a bust, but he has grossly underperformed.
He has. Absolutely has.
So the other guy, so that is the most comparison from D.D. Smith, from Smith to is D.D. Westbrook is the most exact comparison. Marvin Harrison is a comparison as far as loosely based, but Marvin Harrison was still a good 15 pounds heavier.
And Peyton Manning was throwing him the ball.
And he had Peyton Manning. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes here. But, yeah. And the other guy that is a positive, I'm going to bring him up right now, that he also reminds me of. You probably don't remember this guy because you're too young. Isaac Bruce.
I remember him. Greatest show on turf.
Greatest show on turf. Isaac Bruce. Now, Isaac Bruce was 6 foot, so about an inch shorter, but he was 188 pounds, which is a leaner receiver. That's still 15 pounds heavier than Devontae Smith. Isaac Bruce was lean. Marvin, and these guys are still 15 pounds heavier. That's the concern.
Yep. Here are the numbers. Ja'Marr Chase caught 107 balls from Joe Burrow and 23 touchdowns at LSU.
In 20 games.
Correct.
In fact, if I'm looking at the math, 2,000 yards, that's what is that? That's ridiculous.
It is. That's absurd.
That's not 200 yards a game, is it? No, that can't be right.
No.
No, what are we doing here? No, it's the opposite. Oh, it is 200 yards a game. Oh, wait, is it 100? No, it's 100 yards a game. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's over. I'm like, wait a minute. What am I thinking here? I've had too much coffee today. I was like, that doesn't sound right. So it's over 100. So the pick in for the Dolphins now? Business is picking up. I'm going to say Devontae Smith.
I am too. And by the way, that would be correct on our mock draft. On our mock draft, we were correct on the first 2 picks, wrong on the third. We had Justin Fields. We were right on Kyle Pitts, wrong on Penei Sewell. So we have Devontae Smith going 6 here to Miami. We will be wrong on 7 because that's where we had Jamar Chase going on 7 to Detroit. So let's see here.
Well, maybe you'll be wrong. Not me, but maybe some of our wire guys are wrong about that. We're going to have to get back to them on that. But, yeah, let's see who they pick.
It appears Commissioner Goodell is shaking hands with Dolphins fans, so working through the podium. Here we go.
With the 6th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Wide receiver, Alabama.
Interesting.
I think you're right. I think Devontae Smith's size is being held against him.
I tried to tell you. And, by the way, do you remember me saying that Jalen Waddle went number 9 to Denver?
Yep.
And Denver got it crazy. Thought that was crazy. So now Jamar Chase is dynamic. Jalen Waddle is dynamic. Devontae Smith, I'm telling you, Detroit is interesting. Detroit needs a lot of help, a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is Micah Parsons.
I would agree. I would not be surprised because Detroit desperately
Worst
needs
defense
help.
in the league.
Worst defense in the league. Them and Dallas.
They're coming off the Matt Patricia debacle. They have a new head coach. They need some defense. Correct.
Right. Yeah, Jalen Waddle, almost 2,000 career yards, 17 total TDs. Jalen Waddle's phenomenal. They're showing his highlights right now. So, tell me your thoughts on that and keep rolling here. We got to plug in the charger here. We've got too many cords going, so go ahead and tell me about that, Cam.
Well, right now they're comparing him to Tyreek Hill.
Jalen Waddle.
Yes.
Right. I would agree.
The pick is in for Detroit. I do think this is a good – I do think this is – well, it's moving quicker now. I do think this is a good pick for Miami. I think they needed to get Tua some help, and they went with a guy who he did play with in Waddle. They went with Waddle over Smith. So I think this is a good pick for Miami. They needed some wide receivers. Devontae Parker was banged up all last year. So now Devontae Parker can slide into the 2 role. And so, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm not a fan of this as a Patriots fan. I mean, I don't want – especially if we don't have Stephon Gilmore. I really don't want to be going against this guy. So we'll see what happens with this. Good pick for Miami. Now, Detroit here, this has to be Micah Parsons. If this isn't Micah Parsons, if I were a Lions fan, I'd go down to Ford Field and pick it. They need defense in the worst way.
They need defense, and here's the thing. Detroit needs a lot. Detroit has a lot of problems. Penei Sewell makes sense. To me right now, Penei Sewell is by far the best player available on the board. So,
I agree.
Penei Sewell. Let me go to ESPN's board. I want to see ESPN's board real quick. Let's see what ESPN's got because I like to bounce between NFL.com, CBS. Let's take a look here. Yeah. Okay, so here is the board right now. Penei Sewell, Devontae Smith, and also Rashawn Slater and Patrick Surtain are all the best guys available, as well as Justin Fields.
No, I agree. I agree.
I got something crazy. What if Detroit takes Justin Fields? I haven't seen a single mock draft that has that. What if Detroit takes Justin Fields?
I mean, they are in such a bad way right now. I could see it because I think Justin Fields is better than Jared Goff.
It's not about if Justin Fields is better than Jared Goff.
I think they need so
They've got
much help.
so many holes. Detroit has so many holes. They've got so many problems.
So to draft a guy that's not going to play, I think would be a mistake.
You need a guy that's ready-made. You need a guy that's show-ready. Absolutely.
I mean,
so what are we at now? We're at pick 7.
we're at pick 7 with Detroit. There has not been any trades yet. Detroit's made this pick, so there's not a movement here.
Right.
Carolina at 8 is a place to keep your eye on because it feels like they've been talking to a lot of teams, and it's also right ahead of Denver who might be the next team to go at quarterback. So there might be some.
You know what's funny? I hate to say this, but you guys could be right about Denver. They might take Justin Fields.
They might. I mean, our guy John Heath, who I follow on Twitter, who we've had on the last 2 weeks, says it'd be a dream scenario if Justin Fields is there at 9.
Well, we'll get into that more in a minute. The Lions, go ahead and when the Lions come on the clock, go ahead and turn up the volume back again.
Okay. They're talking about Waddle right now.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I tried to tell you Devontae Smith, and you were popping champagne bottles.
I think I overrated the Heisman Trophy.
No, I don't think. I know you did. You did not. You go by highlights. I go by what the scouts say. I go by what I say. I go by what the analysts say. I go by what I see. I go by what I know. And I'm telling you, Isaac Bruce is elite. Marvin Harrison is elite. They're both 15 to 16 pounds heavier than Devontae Smith, and they're shorter, which if you really compare it, you're talking about 20 pounds of muscle that these skinny receivers, we're not talking about Julio and Calvin Johnson. We're talking about, and Andre Johnson, we're talking about the skinny receivers. The
Correct.
skinny receivers are 20 pounds, 18 to 20 pounds bigger than him. That's the problem.
You're 100% right. His size is being held against him, rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
So, I mean, this should put a chip on his shoulder that he's fallen this. He's going to be the third receiver in this draft. So we'll see what happens here. Because I think we both agree he's probably the next receiver to go, correct?
He has to be. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go to the board here. Okay. Penei Sewell is rated high.
Correct.
So Jalen Waddle is gone. So according to my first page, and by first page I mean my top 9 guys, I've got Penei Sewell is still available. Justin Fields is still available. Micah Parsons is still available. And I like all 3 of those guys. I like. Now,
Correct.
Page 2, Devontae Smith is still available, wide receiver. Rashawn Slater, Caleb Farley, who sadly a couple days ago got COVID. They expect him to be fine. Kay Woody Payne, who I love. Christian Darrisaw, offensive lineman, phenomenal. Patrick Surtain Jr., Jeremiah Kamara.
Here comes the pick.
Trevor Morin.
The 7th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. The Detroit Lions select Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell.
There we go. That's a good pick.
It is.
I know you don't like it because it's not as exciting. It's boring. If you're Detroit, to have the 7th overall pick and get the best offensive lineman in the draft when many years the offensive lineman goes number 1, number 2, or number 3, I think this is a great pick for Detroit. I really do. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's kind of boring. It's kind of bland. But if you look at Detroit, they can load up their offensive line. They can draft a running back in the 2nd round. They can kind of manage the game and try to get back to 8 or 9 wins in that. And I don't think they will, but I'm saying they could if they get the right guys in.
If there's one thing we know, is that Jared Goff does not handle pressure well. So
you're right.
You got to keep him upright. You got to keep
manage the game with Jared Goff. You can absolutely manage the game.
You got to keep his pocket clean above all else. So this is a great pick. Penei Sewell appears to be emotional with his family right now. So good moment for him. Good moment for the Lions. Dan Campbell and that new brass out there in Detroit, bringing in an offensive lineman. So I think this is a great pick. Carolina's still on the clock. They're up next, and they're taking a while, so this might mean some movement.
You're right. It could be because we're 7 minutes into this. They've only got 3 minutes to go, less than 3 minutes to go. They better pick it up. They better get it going.
So, I mean, I think this is it's good for Detroit. I mean, especially in that division when you're going against Khalil Mack and Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith and all these guys.
I love Preston Smith. He's my favorite guy because he's got my favorite name. But so
and Anthony Barr.
Let me answer your question, by the way. So after Devontae Smith, there is a major drop-off. But here are the 2 guys. Rondell Moore out of Purdue, who is a very small receiver, 5'9", 180, and another dynamic receiver, Rashad Bateman, 6'2", 210 pounds.
Correct.
And here's what's interesting about Rashad Bateman. They were saying earlier today he was projected to be a 25 to 32 overall pick, and they were saying that that's a guy that Green Bay should be targeting to help out Aaron Rodgers. That's what they were saying at 9 in the morning. Now that it's 9 at night, now what they're saying is Aaron Rodgers is going to be gone. Oh, is this his family? His family is served in the military. I think that's great.
Yes, sir.
That is great. So I'm glad
Carolina
to see
is
that.
certainly taking their time here. So
There's a lot of, I think Carolina. Now they traded for your boy Sam Darnold, correct?
correct. So they're not going
And
quarterback.
they, I don't agree with that at all. They traded Teddy Bridgewater yesterday. Carolina absolutely could take Justin Fields. Absolutely. You don't see it. You
No,
don't
I
think.
don't.
You think Sam Darnold is the answer? That doesn't make any sense. I would not be surprised at all if they took Justin Fields.
They might. I mean,
Why are you so surprised by that? You think Sam Darnold is the end all be all, or what's your theory there?
no, I think they traded for him. Now, I want to make an observation about this trade. You realize that Carolina sent the Jets picks next year, and I heard this theory floated, and I want to know if you agree with it. Do you think teams are valuing next year's picks more because there'll be a full college season? They'll probably be able to. No, you don't.
I do not believe that. I think smart teams always trade next year's picks because it gives them room in the negotiation.
Correct.
So, for example, if I say to you, if I'm the Bucs have a 32-hour pick, but let's move that aside. Most teams are optimistic that they're going to do better, so they're going to have a lower pick. That's number one. Number two, if I trade you a second-round pick for next year instead of this year, I've got the whole season and the whole offseason to try to get that second-round pick back.
Correct.
So if I trade you my starting tight end, if I trade you my backup guard or my kick return or whatever position it is, my nickel corner, I'm going to say, hey, I'll trade you my nickel corner and then give me a second-round pick or give me a third-round pick. So it's a way to use that as leverage when you're working with teams. Hey, I don't have a second-round pick. Can you give me an extra second-round pick? I'll trade you this fourth. Can you also give me a second-round pick? It's a way to give it's a kind of a sneaky way to get stronger negotiations.
No, I agree. Now they're saying here the pick is in for Carolina, so does not appear there is a trade here.
I think they could take Justin Fields. I wouldn't. I don't know why are you surprised that they would take Justin Fields. I'm curious why.
I just don't think. I think Sam Darnold. They got him for a relatively low cost. He's got decent ability. The Jets are a dumpster fire. I think Carolina's a better run team. I think they got a better offensive line. I think they get better receivers. So I think that they need to give Sam Darnold a shot. Now, if you want to tell me in the second round Carolina takes a Kyle Trask or a Kellen Mond, I can see that. But I don't see a quarterback here in the first round.
Not at all.
No, I don't. And now I might be dead wrong.
The Jets gave up on Sam Darnold. So what makes you think? Look, I think Sam Darnold's fine, but I think the opinion on Sam Darnold, I would not have given up on Sam Darnold either if I was the Jets. But they've already made that crazy decision. So, by the way, something interesting, and we'll get to the pick when it comes in. Something interesting about Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater, not once, but twice, Teddy Bridgewater has been traded
because of Sam
Darnold.
Correct.
Twice. The first time with the whole Saints situation, and then now with this situation, twice with the Jets and the Saints and all that. What do you think about that?
No, it's absolutely true, and frankly, I'm a little upset at the moment that my team isn't moving up for Justin Fields here because I'm worried Denver's going to take him. So,
Mac Jones is still available. Nobody thought Mac Jones would still be here at this point.
I know, but I mean, look, I like Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is going to be a perfectly fine NFL quarterback.
Right.
But
when I see Justin Fields, I think of all of the positives of Cam Newton and none of the negatives.
Because it feels like he's got a good work ethic.
Correct.
Here we go. Pick is in. Go to the podium. Here we go.
With the 8th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn.
Wow. That's a little bit of a shocker, right?
That's the first, it feels like, reach of the night.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like J.C. Horn. I do think he arguably is the best corner. I do like the fact, I think he's a great corner. They got a lot of people there, not social distancing. Man, there's a lot of people in that room. There's got to be 60 or 70 people in that room.
I know.
Just hugging and jumping and cameras.
Georgia's COVID laws are laxed, so.
Okay, well, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I mean, you got literally 70 people. I guarantee one of them's got COVID. But The point is, J.C. Horn, he's 6'1", he's 205 pounds, he's big, strong corner, athletic corner. I do like J.C. Horn. I think he's a great pick. I think he's going to be a great player. I think this is interesting. Who did we say in the mock draft? Slater?
Yes,
Offensive
Rashawn
lineman?
Slater. Yep.
Okay. So let's cross off J.C. Horn, the first defensive player going. Let's take a look here, which means
Here we are with Denver, and Fields and Jones are
here
on the
we
board.
are with Denver, and Fields and Jones are on the board. You are correct. Where is Where's Jones on this list?
We had J.C. Horn going.
Where's-
We
where's
had him
he
going.
at?
We had him going 16 to Arizona in our mock.
I cannot find J.C. Horn on my board here. Where is he at? Hold on.
Now this is Joe's son,
Oh
correct?
my God, this is a reach. This has got J.C. Horn quite a bit down.
This is Joe's son, correct?
It is Joe's son. So for those that don't know, Joe Horn, legend of the Saints, the cell phone back in the day before they had smartphones and iPhones. Joe Horn scored 3 touchdowns. Joe Horn was a Pro Bowl player, phenomenal player. Played with Drew Brees, caught a lot of touchdowns for Drew Brees. And his son is now coming. By the way, this is the, the bloodlines, the elites, whatever you want to call it. J.C. Horn, son of Joe Horn. Many other guys coming in. Patrick Surtain Jr., also a high-rated corner, is high on this list as well. So this is a very, very interesting class. Patrick Surtain and many of the other guys. Cam, what are your thoughts on that?
No, you could be. You're 100% right.
Denver is on the clock. Now, if some reason Denver does not take Justin Fields should be highly coveted at this stage of the game.
I mean, this is a guy who was the consensus number 2 quarterback in this draft for years, and now he's going to be at best the 4th, possibly the 5th if Mac Jones goes ahead of him here.
Right.
But one of these two is going to plummet because after this pick, Dallas isn't going quarterback. The Giants aren't going quarterback. Philly's not. The Philly might, but I doubt it.
Right.
The Chargers aren't. The Vikings aren't. And the Patriots are at 15. They're the next team that could.
All right, let's reset the stage here.
We're a quarter way through.
The Denver Broncos are on the clock. Then Dallas. Let's go through 11 through 15 real quick.
The Giants are at 11.
Okay, the Giants are at 11, right?
The Eagles are at 12.
Yep.
The Chargers are at 13.
Interesting. Okay.
The Vikings are at 14. And the Patriots are at 15.
Now, here's what's interesting to me. If somehow both Justin Fields and Mac Jones fall to if the Eagles do not take either one of those guys, the Chargers and the Vikings are not taking a quarterback.
I agree.
Because the Chargers obviously have Herbert, phenomenal, and the Vikings also have Kirk Cousins, a very solid, very capable Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. So neither one of those teams are going to take a quarterback, which means we'll see what Denver does right here. What Denver does right here is going to tell us everything we need to know.
Correct. Denver's still on the clock, so they haven't.
How do you feel the draft is going so far?
So far, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I'm surprised San Fran went Lance. I'm surprised Atlanta went. I mean, I'm not surprised Atlanta went Pitts. It was predictable, but I just think it was wrong. The receivers I'm not too surprised by. I think Soule's a great pick for Detroit. I am very surprised that J.C. Horn was the first corner off the board and not Pat Surtain.
Yeah. Yep. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting.
Denver's still on the clock. They haven't turned in their pick yet. We're down to 2 minutes here. According to Mel Kiper, Devontae Smith's the best player available, then Rashawn Slater, then Justin Fields.
Well, according to my board, Micah Parsons is the best available. Actually, excuse me. Justin Fields is the best available, then Micah Parsons, according to the CBS chart.
Correct.
Very interesting. Asante Samuel. That was the other guy I couldn't remember. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Devontae Smith, Rashawn Slater, Fields,
Gosh.
Elijah Tucker, Micah Parsons.
I can't believe Joe Horn, Patrick Surtain, and Asante Samuel's kids are in this draft. I feel old.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Now they're showing Mac Jones in the green room. I wonder if he's going to be.
Show him. He can fix his tie if he's going to be on TV. But
And Justin Fields is back home with his family.
Okay, are they going to show Justin Fields, or what are they going to do there?
He's back with his family. He's on his phone, but he doesn't look like he's taking a phone call.
Is that Justin Fields?
Yeah, that's Justin Fields with his family back in Georgia. Yep.
That's a small group. It's a very quiet room. I think it's a very somber room right now.
If Justin Fields falls past 9 here, I'm going to get very excited. So if they're going quarterback Denver, I hope it's Jones.
Now here is the question I have. If he falls, and I'm talking about Justin Fields, past 9, and the Patriots don't even try to trade up and take him, what is your thoughts going to be?
I'm going to be very disappointed. Because to have Justin Fields potentially fall on their lap here, and the pick is in, I'll tell you when Goodell's walking to the podium.
Right.
It would be upsetting. Look, I know they brought back Cam Newton. They gave him a backups contract, hopefully because he's going to be a backup. At least by the end of the year. It makes no sense to me to spend all this money on their roster and give them the worst quarterback in the league. So I just hope if Fields doesn't go here, they could move up. Someone's going to move up for him. I have to imagine that he's not going to fall this far. And he seems like the Patriots and the Washington football team and the Saints, all these teams that need quarterbacks, and the Steelers maybe, are not going to move up for him.
You know what's funny? I'm going to laugh to the umpteenth degree if they draft Devontae Smith here, because I chose him in the mock draft getting Waddle and
our guy John was very confused.
And John was irate, wanted to burn his computer up. And so I'm going to laugh if they do draft Devontae Smith here. Right?
Right. This is a big pick.
This pick right here could set the stage for the next 8 to 10 picks. That's how big of a pick this is for this draft.
He's on his way to the podium.
If they take Fields, that's going to throw things off. If they don't take Fields, teams are going to be trading up, and it's going to be a madhouse. So this is exciting right here. Cam, I want you to bring it. Let's bring it up. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Here we go. We got our buddy over here.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Pat Surtain.
Pat Surtain.
Wow. That is interesting. That is a good pick, but again, a unique pick. Now, I got to say, Cam, what if the Dallas Cowboys take Justin Fields? I know it's crazy. But if you want to be, if Jerry Jones wants to be the belle at the ball, if Jerry Jones, if Mr. Jones wants to be the story of the night, this would be the story. Taking Justin Fields in a row. That would the fact that they gave Dak all that money. Actually, excuse me, they franchised him for a year, correct?
No, they signed him. They got an
sign
extension done, yeah.
They did. Was it 4 years, 160?
I believe so, yep.
Yeah. How crazy would that be? And I don't think it's going to happen, but how crazy would that be?
I think that would be insane. I mean, we were the ones saying earlier this year that if you were Dallas, that you would offer Dak to the Jaguars for the first pick. So,
yeah. We were talking about that. Here.
They're still on the clock. They haven't turned the pick in, but they haven't made a trade either. I am stunned by that. I'm happy because this means to me either Jones or Fields is going to be there for the Patriots. It's
more than likely.
Yes.
More than likely.
So I would agree. They didn't go quarterback there. I think
Patrick Surtain Jr. is gone. 6'2", 202 pounds. By the way, both corners taken. 161, 205. The other 6'2", almost 205. Those are big corners. Big, right. Strong corners.
Big, strong, fast corners.
Big, strong, physical, fast corners. Caleb Farley, another highly rated corner. Many people's board had actually Caleb Farley as the number 1 corner, believe it or not.
No, I agree.
There he is, Patrick Surtain Jr. And his father Patrick Surtain Sr. was another elite corner for the Miami Dolphins. So
Always,
I love
he always gave the Patriots fits.
he
One
was
of the few
fantastic.
corners that seemed to have Tom Brady's number.
Yeah.
Whenever they would play the Dolphins down there in Miami, Brady would always throw to him, and he'd either make a great play or get picked. He was one of the few corners that knew how to play Tom Brady.
Now, there's a lot of places that Dallas could go. If they chose Devontae Smith, that would also be another big play here, even though they don't need a receiver.
That would
The guy-
make sense. But knowing Jerry, don't rule it out.
They chose CeeDee Lamb last year. They didn't need him. So here is the thing. Rashad Slater, offensive lineman, Northwestern, makes the most sense for Dallas.
I agree.
Another guy that makes a lot of sense
Micah Parsons.
is Micah Parsons. Another guy that also makes sense is K. Woody Payne. Those guys are all guys that are highly talented. They're all top 5 rated at this stage of the game, and all 3 of those guys would be plug and play for Dallas and help Dallas win actual real football games.
I agree. Now they're showing Mac Jones in the green room here. He's getting that sad Brady Quinn look on his face.
Well, he can get
So,
the
I
sad
think
he can get the sad Brady Quinn look on his face all he wants to. I mean, we're getting
Now-
into an interesting part of the draft here.
You were more into the draft at this time than I was. Whose plummet was more surprising, Brady Quinn's or Aaron Rodgers? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is the better player. At that time,
Aaron Rodgers by far. I wanted the Bucks to take Aaron Rodgers 5th overall instead of Cadillac Williams.
correct?
And the whole reason they said that he fell, Aaron Rodgers, is because he was cocky.
Correct. Now he is.
That's it.
He's got every right to be.
Right.
So
Mel Kiper's going buck wild. We got 4 minutes of Dallas. Dallas better pick up the pace. There is a lot. We are 10th overall right now. We've got a lot of great players, elite players
I agree.
that are plug and play. Justin Fields is great. Micah Parsons is great. Devontae Smith is great. Rashawn Slater, Caleb Farley, K. Woody Payne, Christian Darrisaw. These are all great players. And in our mock draft, many players also love Jeremiah Kamara, who is phenomenal. The only challenge with
We got a
Jeremiah
trade.
Kamara, we have a trade? Who's trading? Oh, the Subway trade alert.
They
Let's
just
see.
the Cowboys just traded the pick to the Eagles.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, my. What are the Eagles doing? What are the Eagles doing? They were 12. They go from 12 to
6.
10.
Remember, they were 6. They moved down to 12 in Miami. Now they're back at 10 with again.
I have a feeling they're going to take Justin Fields.
They very well could, and I'd be very disappointed.
Well, you told me you're going to keep it together no matter what happens.
I will
And
keep it
I told
together,
you.
but I'll be bummed.
I told you that odds are the Patriots are not going to do what you want them to do at 15. This is a weird move.
So here
let
we
me
go.
know- once you have the details, let me know the details.
I believe, according to Adam Schefter, Philly sent Dallas their 1st and their 3rd round pick.
Jeez, to move up 2 spots?
There's a guy here they like.
If it's Justin Fields, it's worth it. So that's the whole thing. They swapped 10 and 12, and they added a 3rd.
Correct.
So basically, it costed them a 3rd round pick to go up 2 spots here.
Correct. This is nothing like with the Bears a couple years ago when they gave up a 1st, a 2nd, and 3rd to move up 1 spot.
Right. Now, here is the question. Are they taking Micah Parsons? Are they taking Justin Fields? I would assume they're taking Justin Fields here.
But if they wanted a quarterback, wouldn't they have stayed at 6 where they
They're-
originally were?
Philly is all over the place. They're showing Devontae Smith for some reason.
It could very well be Devontae Smith. You got to get Jalen Hurts some pass catchers there. They moved on from Carson Wentz, obviously. They have an additional 2nd round pick this year from that trade.
Right.
So they had some ammo they could give up. Now, they haven't updated the thing on the ESPN meter to put Dallas at 12, but according to Adam Schefter on Twitter, who I have up, it said it was the 1st and the 3rd.
That makes sense. That's a natural. A 10 to 12 swap, adding a 3rd. That makes sense in the realm of everything that's going on.
And Howie Roseman, the Eagles GM, is a guy who will wheel and deal. We know this. So
This is fascinating to me. Now it's getting interesting. Now the draft, of course, the draft has started, but now things are, I don't want to say it's off the rails, but now we are now at the part where we can no longer predict the rest of the way. We can have an idea, but nobody saw this come. I don't know what Philly's doing. They just keep making a lot of trades. By the way, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first trade today.
Yes. Yes.
And everybody loves to say, I hope we trade down. I hope we trade down. Nobody thought Dallas was trading down. Nobody.
No.
Not a single person. Who is this? Is this Micah Parsons?
That's Micah Parsons. Yep.
He does not look happy at all.
No, he doesn't. He kind of has that.
He's got that pouty, angry face. He does not look happy.
He's got that Lawyer Malloy expression, as I call it. Lawyer Malloy always carried himself around like he was ready to punch somebody. So,
Right. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, he does not look happy. But
he's taking a sweet time here too. We're down to 30 seconds.
they better get it going. I'm actually really fascinated to see what they're going to do here.
I got a feeling. All right, they have updated it on the sheet. You're right. It is 12. So it is. The Eagles got 10. The Cowboys got 12 and a third, as we said.
Yep.
I don't know what overall that is in the third.
Oh, here
round.
we go. Here we go. 10th overall, 12th, and the third. That's fine. That's fine.
And
I
this
think
is the
that's
third-
smart from Dallas.
And this is the second trade that Philly's made with this pick. They started at 6. They moved down to 12 with Miami.
Started
Now
with
they're
6, traded down to 12, traded up to 10. I mean, what is – look,
This
I'm
is
all
how we
for
roll. This is how
moving
we roll.
around. I'm all for moving – but what are they doing here?
This is
6
how
and
we roll.
12 and 10 and
This is what the Eagles do. They wheel and deal.
just remember 6 and 12 and 10 and 3 and 4 and 9 and 12 and 8. All of this move costed Peterson his job. This draft pick cost Doug Peterson his
Because
job.
he tanked
Remember
that
that
last
because they
game.
tanked the last game. Remember that. They tanked the last game.
No, I
And the-
remember it. I remember watching it. I remember
and
all the
people
Giants
were
players losing.
irate.
And I
People
remember
were irate.
the Giants players losing it, and Joe Judge saying he was violating the integrity of the game.
Yeah. Which,
And
you know,
remember, you were like, the Eagles don't owe the Giants anything.
yeah. Why do the Eagles care about the Giants? They don't.
My
So-
message to the Giants is win more than 6 games next time.
Right.
So we'll see what happens
We
here.
will see what happens.
The pick is in. This is intriguing. This is exciting. It's also
This is
gut-wrenching for a Patriots fan. So we'll see what happens. We've switched roles this year, man. Usually you're in the teens and I'm at 32. Now you're at 30. That's the Tom Brady effect.
That's the Tom Brady effect. Yep.
All right, here we go. He's on his way to the podium. Going to greet the Eagles fan. Looks like a sweet old lady.
And Philly, what's Philly going to do? 10th overall here, right?
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Here we go. I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. That's my prediction. Maybe
Could be
some
right.
wishful thinking. Here we go.
You could be right here. You could be right.
Eagles with the 10th pick in the
Let's see.
2021 NFL Draft. The Philadelphia Eagles select Devontae Smith,
Devontae Smith.
Yep.
wide receiver, Alabama.
Thank God.
All right. Take it easy.
So there goes the Heisman Trophy winner on his way to Philly at 10 overall.
I'll tell you what. He better be good.
Good weapon there for Jalen Hurts or Joe Flacco, whoever wins the job.
Okay. Devontae Smith. That is interesting. They must have really loved Devontae Smith. What's interesting about this pick is if Devontae Smith turns out to be a great player, Philly is going to look a lot better with all these crazy moves they did.
No, I agree. And that's 3 Alabama players thus far in the top 10. And we assume Mac Jones is going to go relatively soon, so they'll have at least 4. And then Najee Harris will come later in the night and Christian Barmore. So Alabama might own this first round.
I'm sure they will. Which leaves the Giants on the clock.
Correct. Now the Giants,
I think they're going to go Micah Parsons.
I agree. This has to be Micah Parsons. They need defense in the worst.
Joe Judge is building a solid team. Micah Parsons is smart, cerebral. He's disciplined. He's big. He's strong, athletic. He checks every box you could imagine. Joe Judge coming from the Patriots. It's got to be Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons does not get drafted here, I don't know what's going to happen here because he is just falling in this thing. And I did hear many scouts this morning say that he could fall. You know who else is falling? We're at 11,
And Justin Fields is still here.
and Justin Fields is still there as well
So
as
is
Mac
Mac Jones.
Jones.
Well, I mean, Mac Jones, I'm not
terribly surprised about that because
I mean,
he was
Mac
traded.
Jones was a projected 5th-round pick coming into the year. And even after the championship game, he was still a 2nd-round pick. He's only really gone up in the last few weeks.
Now, according to this, he compares to Calvin Ridley, which is interesting.
Devontae Smith, I mean, I can see that.
I don't necessarily see that. I mean, let me look how big.
I mean, he's talented. The problem is his size. His ability is off the charts.
But right, if he bulks up another 8 to 10 pounds, yeah, he'll be fine. So
He's a good route runner. He's got good footwork. He's got the quickness. I mean, I think Marvin Harrison's a good comp. Now, granted, Jalen Hurts isn't Peyton Manning and never will be.
that's not a good comparison. Calvin Ridley is 6'1", 190 pounds. Again, he's 20 pounds of muscle heavier. That's not a good comparison. D.D. Westbrook, Isaac Bruce, Marvin Harrison. So, yes, Isaac Bruce is great. Marvin Harrison are great. But those are two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. The one guy of the three,
Here we go.
D.D. Westbrook.
Breaking news. The Bears have moved up to 11.
They're going to take Justin Fields. There's not a doubt in my mind. There's not a doubt in my mind. They're going to take Justin Fields. Not a doubt.
I'll get you the details when they're out. They've swapped first. I'll get you the additional details in a second. So the Giants are down to 20.
Wow, that's a big jump there.
So Chicago's probably including a good amount here.
I would imagine they're including probably 2 seconds and the swap. Yep.
So they've swapped first.
Wow. Now it's getting it. What did we say? When we saw the trade, we said now things are getting interesting. Nobody saw the Dallas trading down. Nobody saw the Giants trading down. Nobody saw that.
Now, would it not be the most Bill Belichick move ever if both Justin Fields and Mac Jones are there at 15 and he takes neither?
That was my question. My question would be, he sits at 15. He takes neither guy. Now, Fields is going. Fields is going right here to the Bears. There's not a doubt in my mind that Fields is going to the Bears.
I got it for you. You ready?
Let's hear it.
The Bears are sending the Giants their first-round pick this year, their first-round pick next year, a fifth-round pick next year, and a fourth-round pick this year.
Wow.
So the Bears have given up their next 2 first-round picks. This will be a quarterback. The question is it Fields or Jones?
Oh, it's Fields. There's no doubt it's Fields. There's no doubt. So they've given up 2 firsts. I'm not worried about the year. 2 firsts and a fourth and a fifth.
Correct.
That's a lot to go up 9 spots. I mean, 2 first-round draft picks. I mean, the fourth and fifth I'm okay with, but man, two firsts. It's got to be Justin Fields. It could be Mac Jones. What is going on here? What is going on here? Justin Fields' family is out of the room.
I know. They're all working their way back to the couch.
Yeah, they probably went out for he's smiling. I think it's Justin Fields. It's got to be Justin Fields. It's got to be. They're happy. They were smoking cigars, having a few martinis on the balcony.
I'll tell you what. I think this is a good deal for the Giants.
I would agree. This just shows you Joe Judge knows what he's doing. He's building a good team.
Joe Judge, Dave Gettleman, those guys. Yeah.
The guy that he wanted was probably Micah Parsons. He probably felt, I can trade down. You get 2 number ones, a fourth, a fifth, to go down 8 or 9. That's phenomenal to drop down.
I agree.
Yeah, this is interesting. Let's go live. Turn it up. Let's see what they say.
Not on his way to the podium yet. We'll see. They're talking to Louis Riddick.
Wow.
I do fear that this is going to be Justin Fields.
I know it's going to be Justin Fields. You don't give up 2 first-round draft picks. You could be doing it for Mac Jones if they love Mac Jones. They did the exact same thing for Mitchell Trubisky a few years ago, as we all know.
Correct.
But it's got to be Justin Fields. Okay? Ohio State. He's dynamic. He's big. He's strong. He's athletic. He's got a big arm. He's smart. He's cerebral. Justin Fields checks every box. And doesn't Matt Nagy love those kind of guys?
Yes, he does.
Wow. That's a lot to give up. It looks like you're angry. You're angry tweeting over there, Cam. You all right? You got to be able to make it?
I'm fine. Here we go. There will be a special presentation with this pick.
There's a special presentation?
Yep.
Through this year's draft-a-thon, the NFL is supporting our nation's path to recovery from COVID-19 by focusing on the critical issues of mental health, food insecurity, health disparities, and the digital divide.
Okay.
Throughout the pandemic, health disparities in communities of color, indigenous communities, and for older and rural Americans. We're joining forces with the CDC Foundation as part of a draft-a-thon to meet the basic needs like nutrition, safety, and health. Carlos Wilson, who's behind me, has been doing just that, leading the Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation in Chicago.
They're honoring a guy who has helped out in Chicago throughout the pandemic.
Wow.
Provide medical care in his neighborhood is becoming a reality with support from the Chicago Bears, and it will open in 2022. Congratulations, Carlos, and please take it away with the Bears selection.
It's got to be Justin Fields.
Well, how exciting is this? With the 11th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, my Chicago Bears select Justin Fields.
Yep.
I knew it. I told you. I knew it. That's a great pick for the Bears. That's a great pick for the Bears. Because I think Justin Fields is definitely better than Trey Lance, in my opinion. And he's definitely better than Mac Jones. I think that was a great move for the Bears.
I agree.
They keep going all in. They went all in with Mitchell Trubisky. It didn't work out. They went somewhat all in here with Justin Fields. But it's a calculated risk that it might work out.
It is.
Wow, so Justin Fields is gone.
Unfortunately.
You know what that means for Dallas?
What does that mean?
They can take Micah Parsons or they can take Rashawn Slater.
Yeah.
They can take either guy they want. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can feel you're seething right now. Micah Parsons is by far the best guy available. Rashawn Slater, 6'4", 315 pounds, big offensive lineman. Caleb Farley, K-Woody Payne, Christian Darrisaw. These are the top 5 guys, not to mention other guys, Jeremiah Kimura. Now, I've got Jeremiah Kimura listed at 6'1", 215 pounds for linebacker. Do you have that as well?
Yeah.
He's on your board as that. I want to make sure that's not an error.
No, that's what I have, yeah.
That's extremely light.
It is.
For a linebacker. Because both J.C. Horn and the other corner in Surtain are like 8 or 9 pounds away from that, and they're corners.
No, you're right.
That Jeremiah Kimura is phenomenal, big and I can't say he's big and strong. He's not big and strong. He's actually only 6'1", 215 pounds. Notre Dame. He's a bit of a he's way too small to be linebacker. He might have to move to safety. Here are the highlights of Justin Fields. This guy checks every box. I love Justin Fields. I really do.
No, I do too. That's why I'm a little frustrated at the moment, but I'll get over it. It's just disappointing that Bill Belichick wasn't willing to give that up to move up 4 spots. Really? I mean, oh well. Anyway, on to Dallas. Dallas is on the clock now.
Dallas is on the clock. So we got Dallas, we got the Chargers, we got the Vikings, and we got the Patriots at 15. If I'm Dallas, my pick, if I'm Dallas, I'm torn because half the guys in the room are saying Micah Parsons. The other half of the guys in the room are saying Rashawn Slater. Which way do you go, Cam? Do you go? You desperately need defense. Micah Parsons is a linebacker. Micah Parsons is by far and away. He's a top 7 player on everybody's board. He's by far the best player. Rashawn Slater is also a great player. Which way do you go? You need offensive line to help out Dak and Zeke, but you also desperately need defense. This is the hard part.
I'm going Micah Parsons.
I'm leaning your way as well. I'm leaning toward, as much as I love offensive line, I'm leaning towards Micah Parsons because I think you can get a guard or a tackle in the second round that could also be comparable to a Slater. Not as good as Slater, but a comparable.
Against the Browns last year, what did they give up? Like 400 yards rushing to the entire team between the 2 running backs and Baker Mayfield?
I forgot about that. They did give up 400 yards rushing. You're right. They had that game in tow, and they lost because they gave up 400 yards rushing. You're right about that.
So their run defense is horrendous. Look, Dallas needs help everywhere, but I mean,
They need help everywhere. You're right.
I mean, look, I think CD Lamb is a great player, but to me, he was the second most wasted first round pick last year behind Jordan Love. So I don't understand why Dallas felt the need to take him. They already have Amari Cooper.
I would trade Amari Cooper if I was Dallas, if I could.
agree.
Because I think Amari Cooper's talented, but I just with the money, with all the problems. When I mean problems, I don't mean Odell Beckham, Antonio Brown. But I just mean the injuries and all the other stuff that goes along with it. What is Mel Kiper saying right now? He looks like he's fired up.
I believe he's saying they have to go defense here. But
Okay, I would agree with him. Michael Parsons.
With the Bears here, get back to them for a second. They now have a quarterback room of Fields, Dalton, and Foles. So you have to imagine Nick Foles is going to get traded. Andy Dalton is probably going to start the year, but it'll probably be Fields' job by the end of the year.
That's a weird room. I mean, that's a good room, but that's a weird room with those three guys.
Is.
I mean, I don't know what the Bears are just going to keep making weird moves. I mean, look, this is a good move. So let me be clear. This is a good move, Justin Fields to the Bears, because the Bears do have a good defense. They got a couple guys, that they need, Tariq Cohen and some of the other guys. They still need some more playmakers, but Justin Fields is dynamic. I think it's a good move. The pick is in. I think it is Micah Parsons. It's got to be Micah Parsons. It has to be.
The Bears.
There it is right there. 473 points allowed, the most in franchise history. 158 rushing yards per game allowed, second worst, and 30th in yards allowed per game. They're absolutely terrible defense. They got to go Micah Parsons. You have to.
The Bears quarterback room is probably the most cursed position in sports.
Well, I know that's one way of looking at it, but
I mean, as much as we mock Jay Cutler, he's not only the best quarterback in Bears history. There's nobody else even close.
He's the best by far. Correct.
So, Commissioner Goodell's on his way to the podium,
and that's why drafting Justin Fields is a great move. And you're right.
I agree. It appears we're going to have another.
I just hope the medicals don't become a problem for Mr. Fields. That's my concern.
I agree. It appears we're going to have another presentation here. Goodell's at the podium.
Through Draftathon, we're partnering with Mental Health America to support resources for those that need it. Kanikia Bedrine, an armed veteran from Dallas, struggled with anxiety and depression after returning from Iraq. She turned her struggle into triumph and is now a licensed social worker who provides mental health counseling. Kanikia, we thank you for your service and all you do to continue to help others during this challenging time. Please do us the honor of making the Cowboys pick.
Here we go.
It's got to be Micah Parsons. Got to be.
We have a doctor from Dallas announcing the pick.
Oh my God! How about the Cowboys?
As usual, the Cowboys are getting roundly booed. You're right, Micah Parsons.
Yep.
Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State, who sat out last year. Great pick for Dallas. Desperately needed run defense.
That's a great pick. They traded down, right? They traded down.
They went down they got an additional third-round pick, and they got
the guy they wanted at 10 anyway. They got the guy they probably would have taken at 6 or 7 anyway, Micah Parsons. And
Correct.
They got an extra third-round pick, and they desperately needed that. I think that's a great move. And in the third round, so not only are you taking Micah Parsons, who's the best defensive player in this draft, despite that he fell a couple spots, in the third round, you can take an offensive guard or an offensive tackle to help out Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and the rest of the guys. I think it's a great move.
No, I do too. I do too.
And I think Micah Parsons is a leader. I like like you said, he's got that toughness. He's got that intensity. He's 6'3", he's 245 pounds, big and strong and fast. To me, he seems like a guy that Dallas needs on defense. He seems like a guy.
He's a leader. He's a captain. He's a guy that he's a great player. So we'll see what happens here.
We'll see what happens.
Now we got the Chargers on the clock. So unless a team trades up here, Mac Jones will be there for the Patriots.
By the way, after the Patriots pick, we are taking a break after that. So we're going to have to restart the next phase if we do another phase.
I'm ready to go all night if you are. I'm energized. The Chargers. This has to be Rashawn Slater, doesn't it?
For the Chargers, it has to be.
Yes.
It has to be. They desperately need offensive line to protect Justin Herbert. It's got to be Rashawn Slater. So now my official first page is officially gone with Micah Parsons. Now the first page is gone. 100% gone first page. Now Rashawn Slater is glaring as far – oh, there it is, Micah Parsons. So Rashawn Slater is glaring. Caleb Farley, K. Woody Payne, Darrisaw. These are the guys popping up. Jeremiah Kamara is rated pretty high, top 15 on the board. I think because of his size, I think he may also slip a little bit.
Correct.
Just, he just might slip. Mac Jones is falling. I'm getting all kinds of tweets and galore. Mac Jones is falling. Again, what did I say, Cam? The Chargers and Vikings are right here. Mac Jones is going to be there at 15.
Yeah, he will be.
Mac Jones will be there for your team at 15.
Unless someone moves, unless a Washington or New Orleans or
That's not
any
going
other
to happen.
team,
That's not going to happen. Nobody's going to trade up for Mac Jones. At this stage of the game, nobody's going to trade up for Mac Jones. It's not going to happen.
This was the nightmare scenario that someone good is going to be there at 15, and they still won't take him.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, the fact that you don't have your future quarterback, and I know we're jumping the gun here because the Chargers are still on the clock. If Mac Jones is there at 15 and you're there, you have to take Mac Jones. You have to.
I know, but don't we say that all the time about the Patriots, and then Bill Belichick does the exact opposite?
I'm thinking of something that Bill Belichick, I hate to say this, but what if do you remember what I asked you earlier today? I specifically asked you, what do you think about Caleb Farley or J.C. Horn? You remember me asking you that?
Yep.
And Caleb Farley could very well be there as well. Now, Caleb Farley actually might get drafted by the Vikings because Caleb Farley is the highest rated defensive player on my board right now.
No, you're right.
With ironically, Rashawn Slater is the highest rated player. Is that Rashawn Slater?
No, that's Micah Parsons that they're talking to him there. He's dancing with his family.
Okay. I just saw the Chargers and I saw everything going crazy there. But Rashawn Slater is the highest rated player right now, and the Chargers' most desperate need is offensive line. This is the perfect fit for the Chargers. Perfect.
And I mean, it writes itself, but often when it's that obvious, it doesn't happen, correct?
It does write itself. It could not be more perfect if they tried. It could not be more perfect.
But often when it's this obvious, it doesn't happen. So
Well, sometimes yes, and sometimes no. We'll see how it goes. There's Mac Jones thinking about, oh boy, what is going on? Very interesting, right?
yeah, Mac Jones is going to be there for the Patriots unless a team moves up in these next two picks, and I don't see that happening. So, I mean, we'll see here. I mean, the Chargers are certainly taking their time here. I mean, we're down under 2 minutes.
Right.
This has to be. It has to be either Slater or Darrisaw.
It's got to be. You're right. It could be Darrisaw, but I think it should be Slater. I think Slater is very comparable to Penei Sewell.
I was
6'4",
beyond
215 pounds, checks every box. Senior, Northwestern, fantastic.
I was
Gotta
beyond
take it.
impressed when I found out last year that Justin Herbert matched Baker Mayfield's rookie record for touchdowns. I was even more impressed when I found out he did it behind the worst offensive line in the league.
Yes.
So we need to. This has to be O-line.
Has to be. There's no other choice. There's no other choice.
But this is again the difference. Last year, both the Chargers and Patriots went 7-9. But don't you
Right.
agree that the Chargers 7-9 is better because they have their quarterback?
Of course, by far, no doubt about it.
That was to me. That was the worst part of last Patriots season. Was they didn't accomplish anything. They were in the middle of the draft. They didn't make the playoffs, and they didn't find their quarterback.
Right.
So let's see what happens here. The Chargers have. It appears they've made the pick. They haven't traded it. As the pick is in, they're at commercial right now on ESPN. We're moving at a decent clip here. I mean, we're 2 hours in. We're almost halfway through. I was kind of upset at those first couple picks, but since then, it feels like they've moved at a decent clip. So we could be done by midnight. I'm intrigued here. This, I mean, there's only two names that jump out. Like I said, Darrisaw and Slater. But I mean, it's the NFL draft. It's unpredictable. It could go defense. They could go Phillips, or to pair him with Joey Bosa, excuse me. But I mean, they'd be doing Justin Herbert a disservice if they didn't go O-line here.
Yeah. That is true.
Now, I know we're a ways off, but what are you looking at 32 for your team? You looking at D-line?
We're a long way away. Christian Barmore, D tackle, if he falls, would be my preference because the Bucs need D tackle. Even though we've got a great D line, even though we've got a lot of talented guys, I think that's D tackle's where we need to go.
Now, this is intriguing. It appears they're showing a big Tom Brady documentary on ESPN Plus. There's a big spot for it right here, so that ought to be good.
Right.
Man in the Arena, Tom Brady, fall 2021 on ESPN Plus. Okay, cool. Kind of his own last dance.
Right.
I mean, they're back from commercial. I have to figure Goodell should be at the podium. The pick's been in for a while here. Now they're doing his little graphic this year. I don't know if you've seen it. Mel Kiper's walking into a courtyard inn, and now they're showing the best available. And it is Rashawn Slater. Then it's Vera Tucker. They could go Vera Tucker. They could go guard.
They gotta go Slater. Slater or Darrisaw, but you have to go Slater. You just have to.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it has to be Slater. I mean, there's not much to talk about with this pick because it's just glaringly obvious. Rashawn Slater is at the draft with his family. And now Elijah Vera Tucker is with his family in California, not at the draft.
Yeah. A couple more picks to the Patriots pick, and then after the Patriots pick, we're going to end this stream, and then we're going to probably continue later and see where it goes from there. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're over 2 hours in. You right there?
Yeah, I'm fine. This is just taking a while.
What are the Chargers doing?
The pick's been in. I mean, we're over halfway through the Minnesota clock now. So I don't know why it's taking the Chargers so long. Okay, here he comes, it appears. Looks like he was greeting the Chargers fan. Here we go.
With the 13th pick of the 2025 Rashawn
Slater.
Called it again.
Yep.
Nostradamus. What are your thoughts, Cam? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it was predictable. It was the biggest need. They needed to keep Justin Herbert upright. He got killed last year and still set the rookie record for touchdowns. He's now hugging his family. So this is a great moment for the Chargers, great moment for Rashawn Slater.
Right.
Pat Fitzgerald, the Northwestern head coach, is there to greet him. And Justin Herbert has his insurance policy, and a much-needed one.
A much-needed one, absolutely. You're 100% right about that. Yeah, absolutely.
So now we're at Minnesota. They're at 14.
Yep.
My prediction here is that this is going to be Jalen Phillips or Kwity Paye.
Could be those guys. Could be Caleb Farley. There's a lot of top guys available. So, yeah. Let's take a look here. Caleb Farley, 6'2", 270 pounds. Kwity Paye. I love Kwity Paye, 6'4", 275 almost. Darrisaw. You guys are one pick away, right? After this?
Yep.
Would you absolutely go crazy if you guys trade down?
I mean, I wouldn't like it, but I expect it. That would be the most Bill Belichick thing ever.
Yeah.
Here's Mac Jones. He's fallen into your lap. This is a guy who takes coaching, play within the system. He obviously has a great relationship with Nick Saban, his coach. I'm gonna trade down and take some offensive linemen. It would be so him. I mean, I'm almost expecting it at this point. It would be so him.
Yeah. Rashawn Slater. Good pick. Good pick.
Great. The Chargers are on the right now. Sadly for them, they're in the same division as Patrick Mahomes, and they're going to have to deal with him for a long time. But the Chargers are on the
Well, you know what? The Chiefs have to deal with Justin Herbert, too. Don't forget that.
Correct. So Minnesota.
And if they can keep Justin Herbert healthy, I like his chances of being an MVP caliber player.
No, I agree. In fact, right now, I would say, I don't know what the early odds are, but I would put a couple bucks on him if he's got good odds. Justin Herbert this year. My pick, I mean, we'll get into this as we get closer to the season, but my number one pick for MVP next year will be Josh Allen.
It's way too early for that. We'll get into that later. So we got 4 minutes left for Minnesota.
Yeah.
4 minutes left. Let's see.
Oh, here we go. We get a trade.
Really?
The Vikings are trading this pick.
To who?
The Jets.
The Jets. What the heck are the Jets doing?
I don't know, but they have traded the 14th pick to the Jets, so this obviously isn't a quarterback. So
obviously it's not a quarterback. I mean, that would be insane. Which they're not gonna take Mac Jones here. The question is, are they taking Caleb Farley? Are they trading up for Caleb Farley, the corner, who's the highest rated corner? This is interesting.
I could see them. I could actually see them going Vera Tucker. They need to get some offensive line help there for Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Maybe. I think Caleb. It's got to be either Caleb Farley or K. Woody Payne, because why else would the Jets trade up? Right?
Yeah. Let's see here. Waiting for the details. When I get them, I'll give them to you. So Minnesota has moved out of 14. The Jets are up to 14. We do not have the details yet, but this is interesting. The Jets, there's been a lot of moving here. I mean, the Chargers are the only team that have stayed in place since we got past the Broncos at 9. Philly moved up to 10. I mean, yeah, Chicago moved up to 11. Dallas back to 12. Chargers stayed in place at 13. Now the Jets are back up to 14. So a lot of moving around here, these last few picks.
Trade alert. Wow. It's got to be Caleb Farley or K. Woody Payne. Those are the two guys that jump out at me right now.
Correct.
Obviously, Mac Jones jumps out at me for the Patriots.
Correct.
I think at this stage of the game, you almost got to take him.
I do too, but I mean, there's a certain person who wears a hoodie who might not. Still no details from Schefter here. This is interesting. This is taking a little while.
Okay. Be patient. It takes time.
I mean, the Jets might be sending them the 23rd pick. So we'll see what happens with that. They also have a high second round too, obviously.
Right. All right, I'm going to grab some water. Bring it up.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, well, Preston's grabbing water here. I mean, for my Patriots fans watching this, this is it. Mac Jones is going to be there. The Alabama quarterback will be there at 15. Now, the question is, does Bill Belichick have the courage to just do it? I can't watch Cam Newton for another year. While we're still waiting for the details of this trade between the Jets and the Vikings to come in. I'm not ready to stare at Cam Newton whip balls in the dirt for another year. I'm just not. Oh my! Well, now there's always tomorrow, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's just, yeah. So Preston's back.
What was that again? Who did they pick?
They haven't picked it. It's still not out yet. I was just
Okay.
talking about Mac Jones to the Patriots as a possibility while you were getting some water. Again, as Preston said, we're going to take a little bit of a break here after the Patriots pick, and then we might come back for the rest of the night after about a 10-minute break. Still not Schefter. I mean, this must be still being ironed out, but there's still nothing from Schefter. All right, here it is. The Jets sent the Vikings the 23rd pick, the 66th pick, and the 86th pick for 14 and 143.
We'll take a look at that a little bit later. So the question that we have right now is, who are the Jets picking, and then what are the Patriots going to do?
The Jets, I have to figure, are going to go Vera Tucker or defensive line.
Really?
I can see Vera Tucker here. I mean, moving this high up for a guard could be a bit of a surprise, but I could see it happening.
I think the Jets, it depends on who the Jets like. I mean, there is Tucker, who is highly rated. There's Darrisaw, who's also highly rated. Don't forget about him. But you've also got Caleb Farley, and you've got K. Woody Payne as well defensively. They need help on defense.
Correct.
So the only other position, and I can't see them doing this, would be a running back, Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. I can't see that happening, but that is a possibility.
They could have got one of those guys at 23. I don't see a need to move up to 14 for one of those guys.
You never know. It would be insane if they drafted Mac Jones. All right, These teams are really taking their sweet time here.
Going the old Washington method that they did the RG3 draft, RG3 Kirk Cousins.
Right. Although it's double first-round picks. It's one thing to pick a guy in the first and the fourth. It's another thing to take two guys in the first, which is crazy, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Correct. All right. Goodell appears to be on his way to the podium.
14. Goodell is making his way out onto the stage. The Jets who earlier.
Greeting the Jets fan. Here we go.
Traded the 14th pick to the New York Jets. With the 14th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Elijah Vera Tucker.
Vera Tucker.
Guard.
Wow. That is surprising. Very surprising. You called it, but I don't know what the Jets are doing to give up that much collateral for a guard when Christian Darrisaw is there, as well as Tevin Jenkins is also still there. I think it's a panic move. I like Tucker. I think he's a good, solid football player. I think it's a panic move. I think
Mac Jones is on the phone.
Is he really?
Yep.
Is he really?
Yep.
Wow. It's very possible it's going to happen. Vera Tucker. Wow.
Here's the moment. Here's the moment of truth. As the weeks went by, it was apparent that either Field or Mac Jones would be there for the Patriots at 15. It's Jones. The Bears moved up for Fields, if you're just joining us, about half an hour ago. So the Patriots are on the clock at 15. And probably, I don't think this is an exaggeration, the most important draft pick they've made in 20 years.
Is he coming up to the board?
Excuse me?
Is he coming up to the board?
Not yet. The pick isn't in. They did flash to Mac Jones, and he was on the phone and he was smiling.
Wow.
So yeah, that could have just been, he could have been on the phone with one of his buddies or his family we don't know. But
I think the Patriots will probably go with Mac Jones. There it is. I see him smiling. I think it is. I think Mac Jones will go to the Patriots. I really do. I think it's going to happen.
I mean, yep. I love it. I think Mac Jones is a guy that takes coaching. I think he's a guy that with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, and I think he would fit well here. I really do.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to get back to this. Obviously, Mac Jones is going to be interesting, but I don't know. Elijah Tucker to choose a guard, to trade up for a guard. I have no problem with you taking a guard here because a few years ago, the Colts drafted Quentin Nelson, top 6 overall, and he was by far the best rated player. However, to trade up, to give up that much collateral for a guard when there's other offensive linemen that are very closely rated, I think it's a panic move. I think the Jets so far, the Jets to me do not have a good grade right now.
No, I agree.
They are right now. They're downtrending. They better hope Zach Wilson's super elite.
Let's hope so. Here we go.
And let's see what move he's going to make.
Are the Patriots are the Patriots coming up right now?
Yes, they are. They're at the podium. The Patriots are going to honor another doctor.
Security and challenge for so many Americans. We teamed up with Feeding America as part of Draft-a-thon to help fight hunger. Don Cox is behind me, a former Marine, saw a need in his community and started providing food to fellow veterans. He and his team have provided more than 5.6 million.
Little antsy here, if you can't tell.
Relax, Cam. It's relax.
Don, thank you for your service to our country and for helping those facing food insecurity. The stage is yours to make the Patriots pick.
My prediction is Mac Jones quarterback.
Let's hope.
There's nobody else here that makes sense. Unless they choose Caleb Farley or K. Woody Payne, they're the 2 highest rated on my board. Mac Jones would have to be the pick.
World champion New England Patriots select Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
There you go. There you go. Mac Jones. Cam is obviously extremely excited. Wow. Mac Jones, New England Patriots. Yeah. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban. That is
Very happy.
Yeah.
Mac Jones is borderline running to the stage right now. He's walking very fast.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is happy.
And it appears that Tom Brady's heir apparent has been selected because Cam Newton doesn't count.
Right. Well, there we go. I think that's a good way. We'll let you catch some steam. You need to catch a breath. We appreciate that. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Cam is going to compose himself. We'll be back shortly.
And we'll be back.